This is the GPL podcast, part of the Pull Tab Sports family.
So, wait, did you drink that entire bottle?
Almost.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go. What's the line, right? People have been quoting it all day on Twitter.
Jupe's making mistakes.
There you go.
I think Bart must be watching upstairs because Rut-row.
Is trying to be awake for Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Jupe's roommate's worried. Jupe's roommate's worried. Jupe's roommate.
Now, here's Jupiter and Vigo. Good evening and welcome to the GPL podcast, episode number 274. Good evening, Vigs. Hopefully everything is going just as crazy as it has been for you.
It's been a month. You know, we've
Yes.
got a lot going on in the household and ready for Thanksgiving weekend. Thankful to have the GPL crew with us and the Pull Tab Sports family supporting us this season. So ready to talk some hockey.
Yeah, couple big wins this weekend. We'll get a little bit more into that. What are your initial thoughts? It was a successful weekend.
Yeah, Bob was talking last week how the team needed to have more net front presence. And I think we saw that against Notre Dame. A lot of guys getting in front of the net. Oliver Moore was one of the players who was talking about it during the availability last week. And sure enough, he gets a bunch of points all right around the net.
Definitely. So great weekend. It's our Thanksgiving episode, so we thought we'd have a special episode. I've been going back and forth with Nick Angell for about a month or so now, and we were going to have him on earlier, but then he had some surgery, didn't work. And he's like, I can get Leopold on. So I figured we'd get them both on our Thanksgiving show. So here they are, Nick Angell and Jordan Leopold. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are we?
We are doing well. Nick, I'm going to start because I'm a smart ass. You've been playing hockey all your career, and I'm sure that's what led to your little surgery you had on your neck, right? Years and years of hockey and hits and everything.
Yeah, it was probably the wear and tear, and it was probably due. So it was. But in the end, it was the wild thing at Valley Fair with my 6-year-olds that took my neck out. So,
Jordan, how do you feel about this? He plays a long career in Europe and Gophers, and it's the wild thing that takes out his neck.
Well, here's the thing that people don't realize about Nick is Nick actually had a longer career than I did. So, he played over in Europe and Russia, Finland, all over the place, and was very successful over there. And then now he's using his brain to go out and do bigger and better things. Unlike me, who I just go out and work with chainsaws and cut trees down. But no, the wild thing will get you. I went on Excalibur once out there, and I told myself I will never do that again. So wild thing wasn't going to happen for me. I don't know why you did that. You should have called me, but you didn't. And look at you now. You have a big scar on your
Hey,
neck.
he's a family man, and he took his kids on the wild thing.
they were just like they'd been wanting to go on that thing. We had the season pass, so I was like, all right, let's put our shoes on that have a little more lift in them. We're gonna spike your hair up. I'm gonna teach you how to kind of stand on your tippy toes a little bit. We get them on it, front row, and it's we're going up to the top. I'm like, all right, dudes, get your hands up, and we're going down, screaming and yelling, and we hit the bottom, and I just whiplashed forward, and my chin bruised my sternum, and we got done, and I'm like, oh man, that hurt. And my kids were just like, that was awesome. Let's do it again. So then I wrote it another 3 times just to try to double that. And herniated a disc and was hitting the nerve, so just rifling pain down my arm. And then we got the Jack Eichel surgery. And if people don't know kind of the story about that, so here's the
here. Let me bring you up. So look at that.
There's the scar right now. So it's not like you don't notice it. So one of my buddies just said
so many inappropriate things right now.
I lost a knife fight. Yeah.
You weren't required to wear the neck protector when you played, and
yeah, no, it was weird. I'm so used to it after being in Europe for so long. But yeah, if you don't know, like Jack Eichel kind of had the same injury, C6, C7, and the team wanted him to fuse his neck, and he really didn't want to do that. And this artificial disc replacement was kind of like a newer surgery for like contact sports, but they'd done it for fighter pilots and special operations forces in the military. But the team, I think it was Buffalo. Leo, you probably know. Buffalo,
Yep, it was Buffalo. Nope.
Buffalo said no, and then he took it to the NHL, and the NHL backed Buffalo, and so he asked for a trade, and then he went to Las Vegas, and Vegas was like, yeah, let her rip. And he got the surgery, and he's kind of been good to go. So I'm hoping, I'm not looking to make a comeback here, but I'd like to get back out on the golf course one of these days. So.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, that's important. You got to be able to get on the golf course. Biggs, how was your game this year? Your game was pretty good. You won a tournament, didn't you?
I won a bunch of tournaments. Handicap golf was very good to me. I was very
Sandbagger.
When you're like a 14 and you shoot 83, 84, 85 every time out.
That means you're not a 14.
That's me. I golf 5 times a year, and that's
It was a good year. Good year for me.
So. Well, yeah, it was a good year for you. I don't play golf because that would I would not shoot 120 if I tried.
Where's your go-to course?
Well, I'm in the University of Minnesota Golf Club at Les Bolstad, so we play events there pretty much every other Saturday. I was coaching baseball for the first half of the year, so I didn't really play much golf until end of July, and then I just played a ton after that point. And I like to get down to Stone Ridge once, Keller, Chaska Town course, try to get on some courses like Hazeltine and Northland when I can. So,
didn't Rob get you on down on Minnesota Valley too?
Yeah, I got to Minnesota Valley with Rob Shield a couple times on Mondays for his employee golf. That was a lot of fun.
Well, that's good.
It was a good year.
So, Nick, I know you follow the Gophers pretty closely these days. Leo, how much are you following it, or are you just chopping down so many trees because you've got 5,000 trees along the river there?
I mean, I'm like Paul Bunyan, but you know what? I follow it. I'm not a religious follower. I do coach high school hockey up in Andover, so I'm pretty consumed with that. Busy. I got 3 kids that are playing hockey.
Oh boy.
Much like all of us. I do have 5 kids, but I got 2 older adult kids that should be out of the house, but they're kind of still living at home, very comfortable. I wouldn't leave either.
He's got a stay-at-home son.
Yeah, and my son, who's now close to 16, he'll probably be the first one to actually leave the house, which is kind of funny. But, yeah, it's jeez. I mean, I watch as much as I can. I every year I see all these new faces come in. I'm like, okay, which ones are new, which one's old, try to learn them, and by the end of the year, we're done. So it goes by quick, and these guys know it too. And but college hockey has changed so much over the years with NIL now, with the portal. I mean, it is the wild, wild west. It's nothing like it was when we played. It's just crazy.
Nick, I think it has changed quite a bit over the years. I think the big change came right before you guys would have gotten to college. I mean, if you look at the late 80s, early 90s and compare that to the late 90s, early 2000s, the game really made a big change. Goaltending changed quite a bit. Schemes came in. It just became a different game. And we've just kind of advanced further from that. But it changed quite a bit before you guys came around.
Yeah, and I think we were just kind of right at the cusp, and I think it was like a little bit more maturity and stuff. I mean, our years, most of the guys we had were 18 years old. We had a bunch of young freshmen coming in. Now guys are a little bit older, but I think like the latitude that players get to control the puck and be creative is way different. I mean, if you would say, hey, we're going to run here's going to be our power play breakout. and we're going to have a guy skate as hard as he can right up the middle and then just drop pass it 55 feet back to the far blue line. Like, I mean, if I would have said that in like the team huddle and be like, hey, here's a really good breakout, I mean, guys would have just been, this guy must be high. Like, he's insane. Like, there's no way that's going to happen. Shut up, give it to the wing, dump it in, cross corner dump, and then let's go to work. And like, but now the game is so much more creative than it ever was before. And I think, I mean, when Leo, like, we've have kind of like our alumni nights and we're sitting up there watching the game, and you watch these guys. I think I said to Leo, I was like, these kids are so much better than we were. It's not even funny. Like, I don't think there's a guy. I was like, we had the best defenseman in the country. I was like, Leo, I love you, man, but I don't think you would make this team. I know I definitely wouldn't. Like, these guys are unreal. Like, they're so much better than we were. Like, way better.
Yeah, I mean, you look at puck skills. Their puck skills are absolutely amazing. And I mean, a lot of these guys have skill coaches, have advisors at a really young age. They have conditioning coaches. They have all this stuff. It was totally unheard of when we were coming up. And when I first actually broke into the NHL and got out of college hockey, the NHL was even still, all right, if you're going to be an NHL defenseman, you got to be 6'2" and 220 pounds, and you got to be able to fight. You got to be able to cross-check the hell out of somebody, and that wasn't my game. And I was lucky enough that I was able to adapt and kind of get through, 3 or 4 years of tough play, and then the game started to evolve and change a little bit. Where you look at a guy like Mike Crowley, I mean, Nick and I watched him, and you guys did too. I mean, unbelievable. If he was in the game today, the way he played, he'd be a superstar. I mean, he would. He just carried the pace, carried the play. You couldn't get the puck off him, but he wasn't. He was 5'11".
He was too small.
185 pounds in Anaheim. And Anaheim was a really good team at the time. So how do you crack that lineup? He never really got a sniff. Should he have? Absolutely. But it just didn't work out. I mean, you look at how good he actually was. But, we talk about today's age and player. They are so much more skilled. They just are. We, Nick and I, we're lucky enough to go out with Eric Wendell every once in a while, play some alumni hockey with some of these guys. And, we call ourselves the Antiques when we go out there. We just have this triangulation system that we use, and we do it to a T. But the skill-wise is just head above, what we even got to witness when we played.
We just got a little more experience. We try to spread, because I mean they're bigger, stronger, and faster than we are, and we've played the game a little bit longer, so we just kind of know the bounces a little bit more, and it's just like the way you used to remember your friend's telephone number. We're more rink ratty than they were now, but I think they're more like polished and finished than we ever were.
You mentioned Mike Crowley, and no offense to President Company, he was always my favorite Gopher hockey player. I'm a Jefferson guy. Went to the school. You talk about that skill level. I think he just had that long before anybody else did, especially in the college game. And like you said, you just couldn't believe the things he did. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. He was still doing the pond hockey stuff, and his teams were getting into championship games for pond hockey, and he was long out of the NHL by then. So it's amazing that he, at his age, still has some pretty darn good skill.
Well, he's got a kid now. I mean, my son plays against his kid over, I think he's in Tonka. So, and you kind of see the evolution of it, and you see these legacy kids come through, and I don't like the fact that my son, has to bear what I accomplished. That's the standard for him. It's not. He's his own kid. He's his own player. He's got to figure out his own identity. But like a guy like Crowley too, you put that name on the kid's back, and it's going, boy, I wonder if he's as good as his dad. Same with the Bonins of the world. Even the Paul Wendell girls. You look at them, they got they're screwed both ways, because they got Johnny, and then they got Chrissy's genes. I mean, if they don't pan out, it's
but Eric kept the bar a little lower.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Then you got brother Eric over there. That family, those poor girls, but they're really good kids, and I think that's all we can really ask out of any of our kids. And you talk to anybody, we just want the best for them.
And Viggs, that's kind of the exact same situation, Jimmy Snuggerud is in right now. He's a legacy player.
I think the thing is he scored the same number of points as his dad did in the same number of games, but I think the game is a little bit harder to score now than it was when Dave played. So he's got the leg up on him there, and I'm sure Dave wishes he has Jimmy's shot right now.
Well, that kid has got one heck of a release.
Oh.
I mean, he's got the best release easily in college hockey. But even just watching him, I went up to Duluth, a couple weeks back, and I'm in awe. I'm sitting next to my son going, you see how quick that puck gets off that guy's stick?
Mm-hmm.
That's NHL guys don't even shoot like that. I mean, he's got a talent. He's got his niche. He just needs to ride it, and he will at the next level whenever he decides to do that.
And the technology is so much different.
Well,
you go in so in the alumni room at Mariucci, we've kind of got our couches and TV and stuff where guys can go in, but right next to the alumni room is the little shooting room where they've got kind of the synthetic ice and stuff. And you look at these guys' sticks and their curves, and they're all these crazy, just toe curve. When Jordan and I played, the way we curved our sticks growing up, and probably for you guys, was we heated them up and stuck them under the door. So you had this spatula looking heel curve. And I was using 100 flex. What were you using at the U, Jordan?
I think I had 110. I had a bending branches.
Now these guys are if you have 75, it's probably pretty stiff, and it's just these guys just lean down and just torque that thing like crazy, and the release is just so different with that toe curve and that wild whip on the stick. And I used to think Brett Hull was crazy because he had he was using a 70 flex. I'm like, that's insane. I use 100 and it worked pretty good. But yeah, these guys are pretty good. But speaking of Crowley, he was number 20, and they were like, hey, what number do you want when you're coming? I was like, I don't want that one. Jesus. Big boots to fill here. No way.
Viggs, we talk about Snuggerud and his shot is awesome, but I think it's the other things he's been doing this season that's making him more successful or getting into being successful, because he was down on the scoring list quite a bit, but all of a sudden now, after just tweaking a few different things, moving different positions, doing different things, he's now leading the team in scoring.
Well, I think the biggest thing with Jimmy is he's become more comfortable in his role on the team and drawing all the attention that he draws. And he's starting to do different things on the power play. You see him moving the puck a little bit more across the zone. You see him popping into different spots. And I think he's just playing with a little bit less pressure on himself. And you just see him on the ice. He's more composed. He's not getting frustrated. He's not looking up at the heavens when he doesn't put the puck in the net. I think he's just more comfortable in his own skin and doing more to help out the team. And he's putting up a ton of points and playing really well, winning second chances. And I think that's really a big reason why the Gopher power play now is starting to click like they are.
Well, you look at Snuggy or Jimmy Snugs, whatever we want to call him, Jimmy Snipes, whatever. you look at him, he's kind of got that Ovechkin-esque to him, where it doesn't matter where Ovi stands on the ice. If Ovi gets the puck, he's going to blast the thing and he's going to score goals. Jimmy's got that same thing where that release is just bam, it's there. And I tell you what, and Nick knows this too, is when you play with a guy like that, all right, all I got to do is I got to feed it in a little dime area spot, and it doesn't matter where. He'll figure out how to get it and get it off, and he will score goals. And you're seeing it, and they come in bunches, as we all say. But he's a scoring threat no matter what. Even if we come down the stretch and they start really favoring him, well then other guys got to pick up the pace. But he's going to either draw the attention or he's going to score goals, one or the other. And so it's a great scenario that we have to our advantage for sure, just to loosen things up and even find a spot to get him open. It doesn't matter. He's going to score goals. He's got to go to the net and get a shot off.
So we had Mike Carmen on the podcast last week. Guy,
Mike who?
Yeah, Mike Carmen. A little after you guys, just a little bit.
No, we know.
He started a new podcast, basically covering, life after sports and after the big thing you do. and what do you do? How do you deal with, whether it's depression or not knowing what to do? And sometimes he said, I feel like I was a failure. You guys pull your post career, Jordan. You start Leopold's, Mississippi Gardens. Yeah, you did after your career, and obviously, Nick, you went into finance. But I love the concept of it because we know that a lot of players don't have something after their sports life. Can you talk about that a little bit, Nick? I mean, what was it like for you ending your career?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think anybody ever just has this like crystal clear path. And it was like, well, I was lucky. My dad was in finance. So like kind of some of the money I was making, he was giving me some advice on that. And you see some of my, your friends that are maybe not making some great financial decisions. And I kind of looked at it and said like, well, how do I give back? How can I help? And it was like, okay, if I can get into finance and I can start like helping some of these guys get some of the great information and the great recommendations that I got. And then it just kind of spiraled. Once you go down the path, then you start moving there. But, it's, I mentioned this earlier in our pre-session, one of my buddies is a SEAL Team 6 guy. And it's similar, like for those guys, those special operations guys, where it's like, you're part of a high functioning, intense team where everybody's pulling, for the common good. And then you get off the train and the train just takes off. And I remember my first year, it was like, okay, it's end of July, August. I should get, kind of be getting ready here to go to camp. And it's like, all right, there's no camp. You're just going to go to work and work 9 to 5. It's a big change, and I think, trying to make sure you find a good organization or you start something, you build a business that you can kind of put your heart and soul into, just like you did when we're playing, for your university. It was, that was kind of the tricky part was finding something you're passionate about and that you can kind of work together for a new goal. So,
and Jordan, now you're cutting down trees.
Well, it all started when you start having success, you obviously start accumulating funds. And what do you do with all these funds? So my father-in-law and myself and even my wife we started investing in properties. And when we started investing in properties, we come across some great deals. And my wife had an interest to be in the catering and hospitality business, because that's what she was in before we got married and before we went off and lived this pro sport life. So we kind of made a deal, like, okay, if we ever make enough money to do it, you can go ahead and do your own business and do it however you want. And that's kind of where we are. We acquired our property in 2009. I was still in the middle of my career, but we developed it over 6 years, and then eventually opened right at the end of my career. And it was just go from hockey into this business, and I poured my heart and soul into it for about 2 years, and I wore myself down. I just did. I worked overnights. I worked all the time. I'm a bit of a workaholic when it comes to stuff like that, and that's part of the reason I've been successful in that trade. But now I've kind of laid back since COVID and kind of been trying to find myself, like, okay, what really makes me tick? And I ended up rekindling with a buddy of mine that I grew up with, childhood, really one of my best friends growing up, and he's an arborist, and he does trees on the side. He's a corrections officer during the day, but he's like, hey, why don't you come out and cut some trees with me? Like, what? No way in hell am I doing that? And he eventually broke me down and said, let's do it. So I go out there. I mean, I fell in love with it. So now I'm like a partner in his tree side business, and we work 2 days a week together with some other people, and we do tree removal and trimmings and all that kind of stuff. And it's great for me. I'm working with machinery, which I love. I'm fixing stuff. I'm out in the outside working with my hands. I'm doing some physical labor. I guess I'm happier than hell doing that. Not to say that I don't mind doing my wife's business, but I probably enjoy that more because it's just a little bit more than what I'm used to.
But you're keeping yourself busy. And it's
God.
and like I said,
I got
the
5 kids.
the train left and you got on a new train. Really?
Yeah. I got on a different train. I'll tell you that. My body couldn't take what it did abuse wise for 25 years. Being a kid and actually going through the professional ranks. My body just broke down at the end of it. I was 34 years old and I wanted to squeak one more year out, but I could hardly walk. My knees were bad, and that was it. It's like I knew right away the day I didn't get re-signed or get an offer on free agency day. I walked into my workout group and said, "Boys, it's now your group. I'm out of here." And I flat out quit that day. And I don't quit that much, but I knew it was time.
Yeah, you kind of get to a point. I mean, I've had season tickets since since '02, and I always wanted my tickets to be at the very top row of Mariucci because I used to have to run down those damn stairs, and I said I will never go down those damn things again. It's like no way. I'm like never ever going to do that. But I think to our point about giving back, it's probably one of the reasons that it is probably one of the reasons that Jordan and I kind of started that Gopher Hockey Alumni Association and giving back to the kids, because quite frankly, the M Club hasn't been like just amazing for us out there, I think it's something they're working on, but now to be a resource for some of these young student athletes has been awesome. And, just this summer, I was talking with a player, his name was Nick Michael, who walked on last year and he's got an amazing story. And, he said, "Hey, Nick, I've done 4 years now. Like I'm kind of graduated. Should I be done?" And I was like, "Listen, buddy." And he's like, "I want to do what you do. I want to get into finance. I'm really interested." So I connected him with a couple like advisors, a couple people that kind of do what I do. There's 3 Gopher guys that kind of have the same job that I do, and giving him those resources. And I was like, "Listen, I think you should play one more year because, maybe if you quit and you've just done after 4, you might look in the mirror maybe in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years and say, I never got a game. I would have liked to wear that M out on that ice. And if you quit, you'll never know what that was like. But if you go and play, and if you don't get the game, at least you can look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I gave everything I did, and I came up maybe just a little bit short. And I was so happy to see that he's already got 3 games. I literally shot out of my couch when I saw him get that assist, and I had like a stupid neck brace on. I was like, 27 just got an assist. I was so damn excited for him because Jordan and I played with Chad Roberg, who was kind of like our walk-on Rudy guy, and it was the year after we left. He got to score his goal in the U.S. national team game, and guys like swarmed him on the ice. They cleared the bench for him, and those are the guys that make this program awesome. You think about like going to the rink. It's easy to go to the rink when you're a first or second line power play guy and your name's going to be up on the board. But what about the guy that goes to practice every single day, doesn't know if he's ever going to get a game, blocking shots on the practice PK with his ankle? That's a guy that almost puts in more work than the guy that's, first on the lineup sheet every single game, right? Because you think about like how mentally and physically exhausting that is to go through a full year with maybe a year or 2. And I mean, you got to give the kid credit. I'm so excited for him. And I know he's studying up his securities licenses. So if there's anybody in finance, he's already got his SIE done and he's working on his Series 7. So
he's ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So tell me more. Tell me more about this though, Leo. You guys, I know alumni was kind of scattered a little bit, and Nick was telling me, "Hey, I'm building this website. You should check it out. We're gonna try to get these gangs together." And so far, it's been coming together pretty well for the alumni.
Well, here's the thing. Nick is a doer. Okay, and in order to get things done, you have to have doers. Okay, and Nick and I were down in Tampa 2 years ago for Frozen Four. And we went down there, and there were probably about 30 of us alums down there, and we just had no organization. We had no communication. We had nothing. So light bulb went off between us, and I think even Eric Wendell was down there, and we were kind of going, how can we make this better? It shouldn't be like this. And we were fortunate enough to be on the receiving end of some great times with Gopher hockey. When you win one national championship in St. Paul, and then you win another the next year when we weren't there, it cemented those couple teams as far as relationships, as far as being lifehood, brotherhood, and I think we realized that it was important for us, but I think the other guys can have it as well, even though they didn't have the success we had. So we're looking, going, okay, how do we make this better? Yes, the M Club is there, but the M Club is just an entire blanket of all the alum throughout all the sports. And in hockey, for us in men's, probably 90% of our guys, 90 to 80% of our guys live within 50 minutes of campus. They stay in town. It's just what it is. Most guys are from here, or if they aren't from here, they meet a girl at school that is from here, and they end up marrying her and staying in town. So why shouldn't we have our own alumni association? It just was a no-brainer. So here we are in our early stages, trying to get this thing to go. And like Nick says, Nick's big thing is he wants to help younger guys. He wants to help guys find things. Me, I just want to get the guys together. Okay, I'm hospitality. That's what we do at work. It's fun to me. I love throwing parties, as Nick knows. And that's what does it. Nick runs golf. I run an alumni night. We got some other things coming up through the pipeline. We don't charge our guys. We just want their participation. And our feedback has been tremendous. We're moving forward, but hopefully with guys like you, we can feed you. You can use us as an outlet now and find the guys who want to get on podcasts like the Crowleys, the Bonans, Staubers, maybe even a Broughton.
We have a board member on the show next week. Sam Rossini. Rossini's going to be on our show next week. So.
Okay. But that's, we're trying to hit every generation with our board members, trying to make sure we can get the word out to guys. We live in a day and age where communication is pretty important with, it's a lot easier too. The challenge we have is getting the guys from the 1980s and older, the 70s and 60s, because they don't use the technology like we do. So it's hard to get them. You pretty much have to pick up the phone and talk to them, but they're coming around too, which is great.
Hit up Pat McGilletti. He's got all the contacts, doesn't he, Nick?
Oh, but the only thing is you can't get him off the phone.
Oh,
yes, long calls. Lots of long calls there.
We've had Pat on the podcast quite a few times, and it's always interesting. We can kind of just let him go.
Oh, yeah. You just let him go. You feed him one question, and he's gone.
It makes for a nicer podcast, doesn't it, Vings? We can kind of just sit back and let Pat go.
Yeah, you let Pat go, but then you look at his brother Joe. His brother Joe is like super polished. He's the guy doing all the interviewing, and not to say Pat doesn't too, but Joe is just like right to the point, and then Pat is just blah 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 blah. And I think Pat is the youngest of all those 10 kids, whatever.
You have to be able to talk to get in there.
He needs his attention. He gets it. It's all good.
But I think another thing that the alumni that we didn't touch on that I know Bob is really excited about, and when Bob first came in, I think he did a really good job welcoming the alumni. I know like there was kind of like a little bit of like, maybe this is inside baseball, like animosity when like because Lucia didn't really like welcome the alumni, and Bob did a really good job. And I mean, it was the elephant in the room, right? Most of the alums wanted an M Club coach. He just said, hey, listen, I'm not an M Club guy. I wanted to be. I got cut by Brad Butow twice. And I think he just did a really good job, like bringing the alumni in and saying, hey, this program's about you. And for us, I said, hey, to give back to some of these young kids, but also as like a recruiting piece. I know scholarships are possibly going to change next year with how they're going to do it with the NCAA. But you're always competing for kids. And let's say St. Cloud State's going to offer, some kid a full ride, and we're able to give him a half a ride. And, when they're sitting with mom and dad to say, listen, we can only give you a half a scholarship. We wish we had more, but this is all we've got for you right now. But what we do have is we have an alumni network of hundreds of successful business professionals that are going to be waiting for your son to help him through his life and his career and give him the advice and give him the foot in the door and the coaching that he needs, not just on the ice, but when his career at the U is done as well. That's a hell of a thing, I think, to to offer to parents and, as a recruiting option that I don't think a lot of schools have.
And being, I think another advantage to this as well is that when the alumni are around, it also teaches the young guys all about the University of Minnesota hockey program and the history of it. Just seeing pictures and a couple, stats on the wall, it's a lot different when you have somebody there interacting with.
Yeah, as we talk about like today's player, like with all the skill work and individual stuff they do, there's a lot of like self motivation about what's going on in their hockey career. And I think, successful programs are bigger than that. They've got players like Nick Michael who grind away for just the chance to wear the jersey. And when you get players who understand that they don't just represent themselves, but they represent, their institution, the alums that came before them, the players that want to play there in the future, the coaches, the staff that make, the games possible. I think your program can be more resilient and more successful if they have that continuity. And you definitely could feel at the end of the Lucia year that there were a lot of factions in Gopher hockey. You go into a rink, and if there's a Gopher there, you don't know what perspective they have, but it wasn't unified.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I know Leo and I were talking because we're talking with Paul Martin, because we're probably going to go in and give a presentation to the current team and just say, listen, like, you guys are part of this right now. Like, you can join the Gopher Hockey alumni. You're all members, but you just need to sign up on the site, and then we'll have access to your contact info. You'll get, invites to some of our different events. But the big thing, like, we obviously have to share the story of Gopher hockey, but to let these guys know, like, you don't own that stall and you don't own that jersey. You're just renting it. And I mean, when I watch players now, like, I look out there and I'm like, oh, there's Nick Michael, 27. Lord Jordan and I, we're thinking Barry Tallickson. When I see, John Whipple out there, number 3, I was like, oh, there's Jordan Leopold, right? I mean,
there's Chris Harrington.
What's that?
I said, there's Chris Harrington.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you always, every player you see out there, you picture the player you played with, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't own that jersey. You just rent that stall, and the front of the jersey really never changes. We just change the name tag on the back, every 4 years. But now we're getting guys that got, 74 and 91 and,
I was just gonna ask that. I was just gonna say, do you like that they go above 35 now, or do you dislike it?
I think that's a Bob thing. He allowed it to happen. I think that Don kind of stuck to, under 40, I guess it would be. Wouldn't it be, Viggs?
Yeah, I mean, very traditional. You can just see it in everything that they do now. It's whatever the players are liking.
True.
All the different jerseys. There's another jersey coming that we haven't seen on the ice yet, but it's coming at some point. And it's because the players like it. And, if it makes them play a little bit better or have a little bit more swagger to themselves, so be it.
So there you go. They want to cater to the player.
Well, that kind of speaks to society today, though, doesn't it? I mean, it's very self, and that's kind of what Nick alluded to is, and you guys are talking about winning. How do you win? I'm working with a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-old kids in high school, trying to tell them if they are all on the same page, we have a chance to win. Mm-hmm. But if you guys can't get on the same page, forget it. We're not going to win hockey games. Try that buy-in. We had to do that in college. We had guys that fit into certain roles. We were really lucky that we had guys on third and fourth lines that cherished their role, and they knew they were on the so-called green line during practice, and they took pride in it. I don't know if that's the same today. If you come in the practice and you're on the so-called fourth line, if you're going to be a good sport about it, or if you're going to be like, where's my next ticket out of here? Where can I go? And that's kind of the environment we're in with college sports. I mean, it's either in football, it's who's going to give me more money at this school, who's going to give me more opportunity, and in hockey, it's, I didn't get my shot here, so now I'm going to go there. There's not the commitment that there used to be. And I really kind of miss that part of amateur sports, but it's becoming more of a professional sport. I hate to say it, but It's still, when you go down to it and you get teams in the Frozen Four, teams will always talk about how tightly knit a group was that won. And you look even at the group a couple of years ago that was in Tampa. I think those guys are really tight, and I think they were tight. And probably the better team, and probably should have won a championship, but it didn't work out.
That's kind of how it is, Viggs.
I was so rattled when they lost. Like, Jordan was sitting next to me. I couldn't even get out of the chair until both teams were off the ice. I just thought maybe somebody's going to call in from Montreal and say, hey, it was offsides, in the overtime. I was so rattled. But speaking of the numbers, there's actually a really good story. I think it's Thomas Holmstrom, who was wearing number 96. And Scotty Bowman was the coach. And this is when everybody was like, you didn't have wild numbers, right? It was like 1 through 30.
Forbidden. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was number 96, and he was like a new guy, rookie that came in, and Scotty brought him into the room and said, hey, I heard you want number 96. Why do you want that? He goes, oh, that's my first year getting into the league. And he's like, why don't you be number 97? Because that'll be the year you're out of here. Ended up working for him. I think he played like 20 years. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Different time then.
Definitely was. Viggs, you look like you have a thought there.
So, Jordan, you're talking about getting kids to figure out how to win. What over the years do you think is the difference between teams that can get over the hump and win championships and go that extra mile versus the teams that maybe get there and lose a game like the Gophers did in Tampa 2 years ago, where they fall just a little bit short? Can you pin anything on teams you've been on that are separators there?
I think the biggest thing is probably composure out of all of it, and the adaptability of the teams and of the players. There's times when you're going to go through great times and everybody's feeling good, and then there's times you're going to be down in the dumps, and it's the ebb and flow of a season, especially at pro sports when you're playing 82 games in the NHL. But in college, you don't see much of the ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, Nick can attest to it. When our senior year, I think Nick, did we get swept in Denver? That
was our junior year. I think our senior year, one of our goals was we're never going to lose 2 games in a row. And I don't think we did. Yeah. I think, we always bounced back. It was like, hey, tomorrow's another day. And like, I always love the quote where people are like, YOLO, you only live once. I think it's that's crap. I was like, no. You only die. I saw it the other day. You only die once. You live every single day. So let's get after it, and let's get what we need to get accomplished today done, and then do the next thing tomorrow, right? So,
yeah, and getting back to that point, we were flying high there in our year. We were number 1 most of the year, and we were feeling good. And then we got into the WCHA. The Final 5? And we made it to the championship game, and here we faced, what was it?
Denver.
It was Denver. Yeah.
And Denver kicked our ass. We just thought we were going to show up, and we were just going to steamroll. And they kicked our ass. And it was actually the best thing that happened to us, because we went, okay, boys, there's no more redos after this. We lose, we're done. And we kind of got our crap together and had to swallow our pride a little bit and our ego and go, okay, we got to play hard every game. And, when the selections came out, we wanted to make sure we stayed away from Denver, which we did. They went to a different regional. Yeah. And we went to another one. So we got a good bid when it came to that. But Denver was actually, they for some reason, even through our whole 4 years, they kind of owned us, and we like to stay away from that. But
yeah, they matched up so well against us when we lost in the Frozen 4 or Frozen 5. Was it? Yeah, Frozen 5.
Final 5. Yeah.
Final 5. Yeah. I was so mad because I was like, that's our one chance. I think right now, at least we could hang a banner. Hey, you always want to win the national championship. But we missed an opportunity to hang a banner. And I was like, well, I guess we'll just have to win the national championship and hang a way better banner then. That's
Well, wasn't it Maine that took them out in the semifinal on the other side, or was that the next year?
I think that was the next year.
Yeah. It was New Hampshire took them out the next year, I think it was. Was it Viggs? Do you remember 2003?
Well, maybe it was Maine.
Somebody in the chat will remember. What was the 2002? What was the other team besides Maine on the other side? There's a lot of people have been chatting the whole time.
Been Michigan?
Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, and
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire?
Is it New Hampshire? Yeah, it might have been something like that.
It could have been New Hampshire.
I don't know.
It was New Hampshire and Maine played on the other side, and Minnesota and Michigan on this side.
There you go. See, that's why you have computers in front of you.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not
that's
cheating,
why
you're
I
not
have people
trying.
watching live. That's right there.
Oh, well, that.
Maine, UNH, Michigan.
Steve A coming in hot. Love
He
it.
is.
Thank you. Speaking of Maine, I'm actually kind of pulling. So we were out in Vegas, and I put a little money on the Gophers to win, and I think they were 8-1. And Maine, I put a couple $100, and they were 20-1. And now they're like top 4, top 5. I was like, woo, $200 pays 54. Obviously, I'd rather the University of Minnesota win. They're my go-to here, but I got do a little consolation prize there from Maine. So
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But
Maine.
what if it's Maine and Minnesota in the title game in St. Louis?
Oh, I hope Minnesota drubs them. I mean,
Hey,
I'll be
Minnesota-
buying
8-1 is
jerseys.
still pretty good.
Oh,
8-1
Maine
is still
wins.
pretty
I
good.
get, Minnesota loses. Oh, look, I get to take home a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, beer's on me either way, but
No, I was gonna say Nick is okay. He doesn't need the money. He's fine.
You heard it right there. Beer is on Nick Angell in St. Louis come April.
Minnesota
normally
Maine
is.
is championship. Let her rip. Let's go.
All right. Well, we have a couple other things to talk about, but first we need to hear from some of our sponsors. And are you ready, Vigs? Cub Foods is one of our sponsors. And of note on them, they're about the only place that's open tomorrow. So if you need to get something late, you need to pick some relish, you need to pick up some food, they're open until 4 p.m. on Thanksgiving. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think people maybe have seen me down at the Quarry Cub the last couple days. I think I've been there every day the last 4, trying to get all my things ready for Thanksgiving. And the best thing about Cub is they have great stock. Like you go to these other places and they're out of everything. Cub does a great job with their inventory and whatever you need. If you need a turkey, go there. If you need stuffing, go there. If you need cranberries, go there. If you need the meal in a can like Jupe, I bet Cub's probably got it. So go visit Cub. They're one of us. They're local. They're Minnesota. And they've got their wine and spirit stores around now, too, so you can get everything you need in one spot.
And of course, we get this new book called State 1981 Dreams of Dynasty. Tell us about that.
Yeah, dynasties in Minnesota, Nick and Jordan, high school players here who've done a great job. The state tournament is just a magical thing back when it was one class. You've got this fictional book here written from the South St. Paul Packers perspective of their 21st tournament experience, and they're trying to get their first championship. And it's a great book. Check it out on Amazon today, and let us know if you get it.
All right. We've got Vigo's top 20 this week. New number 1 for the first time this year. Michigan State is top of your poll because Denver got swept at home to Arizona State.
That was definitely the big surprise of the week.
It
And
was.
I've got Nick's team, Maine, right there at number 3 as well. They're still rolling in Hockey East. But Michigan State gets the top billing this week. They've had a great season so far. I think Minnesota, if they wouldn't have dropped that game to Bemidji, would probably be in a lot of people's top spot. It'll be really interesting here the next couple of weeks in the Big Ten as Minnesota welcomes Michigan State and Michigan to Mariucci Arena. We might have 3 Big Ten teams in the top 5 here.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, they might stick around.
well, how about what is the games that, the 2 December series, Michigan and Michigan State at Mariucci. I know one of I think the Michigan Saturday game is going to be a whiteout. That's when we figure out how good this team is, Vigs.
Yeah, you look at some of the strength of schedules. Minnesota and Denver have not had the schedules that they traditionally play. For whatever reason, the teams that they've got on their schedule haven't been as good this year. So we think we know what we see in those teams, but until they prove it on the ice against good competition, we don't know for sure.
All right. Well, it's a good list. I like it. So there you
I'm
go.
also looking forward to that Western Michigan Denver series. It's not this weekend, but it's coming up. The Broncos are really tough this year. They've played really well. They played BC tough earlier in the year. So that'll be a good one as well.
All right. I know you had some other questions that you wanted to get into. I'm looking over here. Nick's texting me. Or you texted me your betting tickets there?
Yeah, we got the line going. Just wanted to make sure you saw it.
We have proof.
Either that or you're feeding him questions to set me up.
No, man. Honestly, I was.
Okay. So you were in Duluth, Leo. Did you go to that Duluth, Minnesota games up there?
I went to the Saturday night game up in Duluth.
So it's Friday night. That's the really high scoring 7-5 night. I'm sitting there at the game as well, and I'm getting texts from Nick. He's going, I'm worried about the goaltending. I don't know. They don't look good. But I think we should go get this guy. So let me tell you, he's been paying a lot of attention to this team this year.
Well, here, that's a good question I bring up because I haven't followed it as closely. Have we found a 1A option in net? Or are we still moving around here?
Ooh, what do you think, Viggs?
I think we're still moving around. I think we saw Ari get both starts this last weekend, partially because Bob didn't love the way he played in the first period.
Oh, that was
give
bad.
him some time to redeem himself. You know, that first goal that got waved off, it looked like Ari just didn't see it. And then the second one, it was almost the same kind of deal. And then Ari started to battle a little bit more, and he looked solid from that point on. But I think Bob wanted to give him back-to-back games in that moment to kind of see what kind of mental makeup he has in a potential 1A goalie. You know, he's got the size, and that's another reason why he got back-to-back starts against Notre Dame is because they like to crash the net. And so Bob felt better having the bigger goalie in net for both games. And, you know, he kind of surprised us all by doing that. He said they didn't even go into the weekend thinking that they're going to play Ari both games. But after Friday night's game, the coaching staff said, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what we got here. I don't know if he did enough to like keep the net long-term or be the 1A guy. Bob said he's going to get Soulier back in the net this weekend. I almost wonder, does he play Soulier on Friday and Ari on Saturday and then go from there going into the next stretch with Michigan State? But we'll see what we got. You know, it's encouraging that Ari was able to recover from that first period and then play well the rest of the weekend.
It was bad, Viggs. Those first couple goals, like you said, the first one that went in, well, even the one that was called off with an offside was not a good goal.
Right. But I mean, he's a good technical goalie, and he's got the size that you want. So you always want to test that mental makeup and see what you have there. I think that's the most important quality in a goalie is being able to handle adversity and handle a tough crowd and rally from it. So we'll see what we got.
Since when is the prereq to play goalie? You got to be 6'4".
Ooh.
I think that's an NHL decision. I think the game has become so technical. Like with the butterfly, you know, if you've got a smaller goalie who does the butterfly and they go down, they're giving up half the net. When a guy like Ari goes down, he's giving up, you know, a fifth of the net.
Leo, did you play with Dubnyk?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's like looking up at a tree, isn't it? Isn't he like 6'7" or something like that?
He's like
huge.
6. I think he's 6'6". Yeah, he's a very big man. But you know, we saw small goaltenders. You know, I played with Mika Kiprusoff. I mean, he's just a tiny guy. And even when we were in college, Travis Weber, he was he wasn't very tall. He's like 5'10".
Who was the Denver goalie that was so good? He was
I picture him right now. Dubnyk. No.
Wallenheimo?
No, Dubowitz.
Dubowitz.
Oh, God, he was good. Little goal. And remember the little goalie from North Dakota, too. From Apple Valley.
Carl Gehring?
Carl Gehring.
Oh, my God.
And Kohler? Was Kohler up there, too? I think Kohler was.
Yeah.
But the goaltending position itself, they're enormous now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I remember when Jaguar, he was a goalie.
The big pads and everything.
Yeah, in Anaheim, he had the inserts on his shoulders that would
Michelin Man
that would raise it up now. But now these goalies, they have pads that are twice as long as the pads that were back 20 years ago. They're just super duper long, and all they do is just go into that. What do they call it? A reverse VH or some technical term? I don't know. They just lay their pads on.
And they are too.
Yeah, there's nothing to them.
Yeah, the ones that what were the ones that Hauser had? Those big brown ones. I mean, those things were like they were like a foot thick. Yeah. Like, and now they're just these tiny little like foam things. You can hear it when the puck hits it. It just sounds like it just hits foam and
it is a bigger thud, much bigger thud. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm just looking at these goaltenders, like even at the U, I'm looking at the size of these guys going, holy crap, are they big? And they're really not thick. They're just tall. They're tall, and you call them athletic? I don't know. I mean, are they? Or are they just big and they cover it?
Well,
lot
there've
of
been a
net.
couple thick goalies coming through. Who was the Ohio State goalie that we would always make fun of, Viggs, that he needed to mix in a salad?
I won't be a dead horse on that one. But I do think, when they went away from the deer hair pads that just absorbed all the moisture to these, foam pads now, the position's totally changed. I do think that the big goalies have to be good skaters to be able to move around and have quiet feet. I think that's one thing with Airy. He's very efficient in his movements, and that's what makes him a really good goalie. But I mean, that's just the different style. And I think one of the problems in goaltending is you need to wait for those big goalies to get older before they can control their bodies. Because if you have these 6'5" goalies as 18-year-olds, they can't control themselves. They slide
Still
around,
very
they get
gangly,
pushed around,
yeah.
they're too gangly. It takes them a while to develop the ability to carry that size and weight. And that's why you see Bob going to these 20-year-old goalies who've played, 80, 100 junior games before they, or even more than that now, 150 junior games before they get to college.
Viggs, who do you think has been like the biggest surprise for you this year?
I think Brody Lamb has been the big surprise for me. I think him being on that first power play, I was like, is he really going to fit in with the 4 number 1 draft picks and be effective there? Well, he's gotten that opportunity. He's going to be out maybe this weekend with the knee injury after the knee on knee, but he's really taken advantage of his ice time and opportunity, and he's putting pucks on net. He's winning second chances, and he's really delivered on the opportunity that was given to him.
I would have to agree. He's been really solid, and I've really liked some of what the freshmen have done as well. Viggs, you've been talking about net front presence, and we've been seeing kind of Hendrickson and Ziemer kind of hanging around more around the front as well. Just if anything, just to put a body there.
Well, you have to take away that traffic. The Gophers have been goalied 3 times this year, and it's that lack of traffic. It's guys flying by looking to just kind of tap their blade on the puck rather than actually anchoring in and taking away eyes and getting the rebounds and those second chances. I mean, Oliver Moore, not the biggest guy, but he gets a bunch of goals this last weekend by being around the net, taking away eyes, and finding space. And that's going to be so critical for this team going forward.
It's funny, even at the high school level, you tell these kids to park themselves in front. And what I tell them is I say, hey, just stand in front. Make sure before you come to the rink, you maybe have a little McDonald's, a little bit of White Castle, something like that. And you just stand in front and you just let them rip. And if you just let them rip in front of the net, the goaltender will have to do something, either blink, move his head one way or another. And then you're all golden after that. So maybe we just got to do that a little bit more.
Pre-game at McDonald's, a little extra corner weight. Lean on those guys.
Oh, man.
Double cheeseburger right before the period. Lean on those guys.
Yeah, lean on them. A little Dutch oven in front of them.
Oh, man. I can smell those McDonald's onions, right? Ooh.
Can you smell White Castle? The White Castle is oh man, those. Ooh.
So there you go, Viggs. Teach your was it Pee-wees or Mike?
Yep.
Yeah,
coaching?
perfect. Yeah. Perfect analogy for those kids. You got to just go in there and just give them the stink.
There you go, Coach Vigo. You're learning from the masters.
Pro tip.
I'll bring that to practice on Friday. It comes from a legend.
We're gonna work on Dutch ovening the front of the net here. You heard it from Leo first.
Hey, boy, brought in some whiteys, some sliders.
Oh God.
Right. Well, Viggs, we got to talk about a couple more sponsors here before we wrap up the show. And I know Jimmy's has been on your list all fall long.
Yeah, right when I walk into Cub, there's Jimmy's right there waiting for me. And, I did see them starting to lay down water at my outdoor rink. And I'm thinking, you know what? Caramel's not just for fall. It might be for winter too. Bring it down to the rink, bring a little bit of Jimmy's, bring some apples, give yourself a little snack in between outdoor pickup games. You get the original, the sea salt. Make sure you get a cover too, because you don't want to put it down. Jimmy's salad and dressing and dips. Don't ya be messing with my dressing.
And of course, we've got Lunch Bucket Hockey.
Yeah, we're in full hockey swing right now. Lunch Bucket Hockey does all the jerseys and apparel stuff that you need. Check them out on Instagram. They're showing some of the stuff that they put together. These are a couple local guys who did Friday hockey, and they came up with this apparel lifestyle brand for the grit and grind players that would do anything for their teammates. Check it out at lunchbuckethockey.com today.
And of course, we thank Lunch Bucket Hockey and Jimmy's for sponsoring the GPL podcast. Vigs, Alaska is in town. We call them Alaska Fairbanks. They like to go by just Alaska now. But one thing I'm excited about is the start of the 5 p.m. games on Saturday for pretty much the rest of the season at Mariucci. And I know a lot of young families who want to bring their kids to games are going to like that.
Yeah, I think the 5 o'clock game on Saturday will be nice. Allow people to also get out to other games on Saturday nights as they support their local high school programs and things like that. I think it'll be a fun little thing for Gopher hockey. The Friday night 5 o'clock game, not so popular. I think the Saturday 5 o'clock will be better. Alaska came into town here yesterday, so they're here all week. Always an interesting travel schedule for them. They have not had a great season so far. They're having a hard time scoring goals, so it could be a good weekend for the Gophers to get healthy.
Well, I would like to see that. Did either of you get a chance to play Fairbanks? Obviously, you saw the Seawolves a lot, but what about Fairbanks?
No, I mean, we went up to Anchorage, but I've been to Fairbanks. I mean, if you don't know where it is, you're like, oh, Fairbanks sounds like a nice place. Just look, it's literally like butthole of Alaska, like right in the middle, not like it's not where you want to go. It was wild. I took an Uber from the airport to the hotel, and the guy was telling me how he salvages roadkill. Like, oh, that moose got hit by that train, and oh yeah, meat freezes, and you can salvage that animal. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. All right.
Different part of the world. I remember. I think it might have been Mark Barr telling us a story once when the team was up in, I guess it was, the Seawolves.
Talking about them Seawolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to sing that song. It was catchy.
Oh, God.
And
It's very
on the bench singing it.
But he said he was awakened to dogs barking because it was the start of the Iditarod or something like that.
Yeah.
And and I've, obviously it's a long flight there, but those Alaska trips are unique, and it's definitely a beautiful area. Isn't it?
let's just say this with Barzy. If he's hearing dogs at a certain period of time, that may mean he was out late the night before.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
I mean, but the little secret is everybody wants to go on the Alaska trip. Because I think we would go up there on Wednesday. So you got out of school, party time. You got to go up there early. You ate at I can't remember what the restaurant was, but it was a great seafood spread. It was awesome. And the main reason I always wanted to go up there was because if you got left behind and you got your ass handed to you for 3 straight days, they would just obliterate you. I mean, Cal would just destroy you for 3 days, and that was not fun. So you always want to be in the lineup. I mean, Jordan never had to worry about it, but I kind of had to work my way up there, But yeah, I was like, man, I hope I'm one of those top 8D that get to go on that trip. So
I just like breaking curfew on Saturday night after a
Oh
sleep.
yeah.
The stories we never heard about the 2002 team.
I mean, they had some weird rules. We had to be I think we swept, and Don was like, all right, you guys got 2 hours, and then you got to be back at midnight or something back to the hotel. And you try to get your drink on and have a little fun. And it's okay, I need 6 shots of tequila. And there was a rule in Alaska where you can only have 1 drink in front of you at a time. It was some crazy rule. So it was I'd need another one, please. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to get a little buzzed up here before I go back to the hotel. We made it all the way up here. I'd like to have a libation, please.
Oh, jeez. Well, we're gonna have to save some more of these stories for overtime. Boy,
I'm about ready for a libation right about now.
yeah, I think you're
boy.
too. Well, let's just do a quick. Vigs, Alaska's here. They're struggling to score. I'm guessing you're saying 2 wins this weekend.
I think based on what we saw at Notre Dame with the net foot presence,
I would hope so.
Alaska does have a good goalie in Grabko. He's a graduate transfer from Bentley. He's probably one of their best players. That'll be a test for them. I think if the Gophers play like they did against the Fighting Irish, they should have no problem with 2 wins.
And there's no more Johnny Sorensen there to cause trouble.
No so left.
So sweep. Will you guys pay? Will either of you be making a trip to Mariucci this weekend?
I will be there, bringing the kiddos.
Friday or Saturday?
I will be there Friday.
All right, I'll come say hi.
Yeah.
That's the only day I'm there as well.
All right, perfect.
I'm not planning on it, but you never know.
Keep his options open.
I'm pretty spontaneous, so it'll be all of a sudden get a burr up my ass and go, let's get down there.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for some overtime? You want to do some overtime and get the show over with? Yes,
Yeah.
let's get the show over
This
with.
show sucks. Let's get to overtime.
And Beeks is already getting ready to grab his beverages there.
Get
He's
to the
getting
good
ready.
stories. I mean,
Let's get to the good stories. Well, thank you both for coming on the show. It's great to have you on. We'll definitely going to have you on again. But, that's pretty much the end of this part of the broadcast. We'll catch a lot of you next week when we'll have Sam Rossini on. For those of you listening live, stay tuned for what I believe is going to be an interesting overtime. For the rest of you, we'll catch you next week on the GPL podcast. All right, Viggs, what do you got?
This might be the fanciest presentation of a bottle I've ever had. This is a 2021 Goose Island Bourbon County Reserve stout. This is aged in Blanton's barrels for 18 months. It's Black Friday here coming up. It came in this case like you'd get your Blanton's in, and it even had a little topper like you would get with your Blanton's. So, cheers.
Very nice. Very nice.
Cheers. I got this 5-cent Gopher football. There it is. Cup. It was really like a $17 drink, but I got
It probably was.
I got to keep the cup.
And I'm so typically when we do our Thanksgiving show, don't have to work in the morning. So this is the show that I usually drink quite a bit heavier. I've had times where overtime has ended and I didn't really remember overtime had ended. So, but this week I'm going with what I went with last year. This is a Fox Run local wine out of New Ulm. I do have a glass. I won't be drinking it straight out of the bottle, but that would be fun.
Boo.
just brown bag that up. You'd be good.
Oh,
Boo.
Goes with that beard.
hey, I am the Amish Santa, bitch.
That's right.
Man,
I mean, like, you guys got the fans. It's just Jordan and I. We're like just blue collar guys. You know, I just go with the old Mick Golden can, tall boy, and I do have.
Now, I can't
Trail
go
Magic.
I can't go straight to the whiskey yet. I might go to the whiskey later, but this is
I was going to get myself a champagne of beers, but it's just going to have to wait till Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's
Or
just,
you could just yell for Jamie. Jamie, the meatloaf. Bring the meatloaf. Come on. What you
Mom!
doing down there?
Ah, meatloaf! What's his character's name in that movie?
Taz? Is it
Chaz Michael or something?
Chaz something. Somebody's gonna pull it up. Somebody's listening live here. Chaz something.
Jupe is
Michael
drinking
Michael.
wine. It's just wine. Bartles and James? Jeez, it's a tough show tonight.
Oh, tough crowd.
Man, what a bunch
I
of
mean,
people.
it did look like one of those.
$17 white cup right there.
Yeah. Hey, I polished up an entire bottle last year.
I mean, it kind of looks like a frosty Boone's Farm.
No,
In
it's
that
pretty good. I
glass.
like it though.
Is it strawberry kiwi?
Yeah.
No, it's a Morgan Creek. It just says sweet. It's a table wine. That's all it is.
Very fruit forward, hints of tannins at the end, or what? Like,
What table?
Well, the thing is, if I drink whiskey, I will not be able to function.
Perfect. Let's do it.
It's happened before.
Jupe, are you gonna be preparing? Are you gonna bake the turkey? Are we gonna deep fry it? Like, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna go to?
He's gonna stuff it. Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna spatchcock it. No,
Jordan's going to McDonald's for his.
And then he's gonna crop dust his family the rest.
Yeah, Dutch oven this one.
No, I'm going to my sister-in-laws and seeing all my nephews and whatnot. So I'm not cooking, so that's good.
Oh,
McDonald's it is.
Biggs is cooking though, aren't you?
I'm cooking the whole meal. I got my turkey from Glenwood, Minnesota. It's in the fridge. It's drying out. I got my stuffing all prepped. My potatoes prepped. Pumpkin pie, Brussels and bacon. Got the wine picked out. We're all set.
Wow. Are you going to deep fry that turkey or are you going to slow bake it? What are you going to do?
I'm gonna roast it in the oven. So
You're going to roast it? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got the roasting rack. I got all the garlic in there. It's all good. So
Okay. Taylor Kearns, also known as Mote, are we saving Wooger stories for
Oh, shit.
I must say that last time Nick had a great story. It was when he was recruited and he went. Was it Genner who brought you down to meet?
Yeah, Woogie
meet
sitting there in his
Wooger
tighties.
he was napping in his tiny whiteies in his office.
He had no idea who I was, but he really knew who Jordan was. And like, I'm sitting there with my mom and dad in the office, and he's like, let me tell you what, like Jordan, what a real professional guy. Like, and I was just like, oh my God, like I've seen this guy. He's just wearing Zubas the whole time.
Hey, you got to tell your Surdy story.
Oh yeah. So, when Surdy passed away and, guys were saying this and that, like, I tell you what, okay. So I got recruited when I was at UMD to go to UMD growing up in Duluth. Like I was a Bulldog fan, like, and normally when you tell the coaches like, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else and it's not going to be you. And you just give them a phone call. I went up to the office, like, cause I'd done all of like I'd done all the UMD hockey camps growing up, and I thought it would just be more of an honorable thing. He got me into that office, and he ripped me apart. Like, I mean, it was like 40 minutes of like, you're a horrible human being. And
Bitter party of one.
And like, I mean, I remember like it was Glenn Kulik finally was like, after like me just, I mean, I'm like a 17, 18-year-old kid making the hardest decision of my life, and he was just eviscerating me. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, but I remember I ended up buying a car from Glenn Kulik later on when he was selling cars because I felt so like indebted to him for getting me out of that office. But yeah, Surdy took me to took a couple verbal swings at me when I was sitting in the office there. But
you know what? It was a good decision because you did walk away with a ring.
Yeah, and I wasn't even like that highly recruited, but I think, Duluth East at the time was pretty good. And it was like, all right, you lost Spihar, you lost Locker, you lost Mills. And it was just like, I was like the fourth guy in a row. And I think he was under a lot of pressure to keep the local kids. But, growing up in Duluth, it was like when you'd go to the deck, Like I loved watching those games. We had season tickets, but when the U came to town, there was something special. Walking through the skywalk, going to the deck. I mean, I got my arm hairs are like standing up just thinking about it. Like, why wouldn't you want to play for that team? Like, it was. I mean, and UMD was great. I love UMD. It's great school, but it's a D3 school with a D1 program. Sorry, it is. I wanted to go to a D1 program with a D, that was at a D1 school that had the, great academics behind it and, the help for us. And yeah, so that was why I didn't end up at UMD.
Well, Surtees last year was 2000.
Yeah.
So he was on the way out.
Yeah. Well, then he went to Michigan Tech.
Yeah, then he went to Tech.
Yeah.
Took off the rug, though. He took off the rug.
Oh, my God. That thing was bad. Oof.
Oh, Surtee.
Leo, how was your recruiting?
My recruiting, I probably had 76 D1 offers. There were only 26 teams. Sorry. No, I got recruited, obviously, but everybody knew I was going to the U. They just knew it. So a lot of schools just kind of sent their so-called letter saying they were interested. And before even other schools had a crack at it, I was already gone. I knew where I wanted to go, and that was it. So mine wasn't that hard. It was okay. Decisions made. Here we go. I'll see you guys in a year.
Was the harder part trying to go to Ann Arbor? Was that the harder decision?
Well, I was one of those kids, one of six or eight of us in Minnesota that ended up leaving my senior year to play so-called junior hockey at that.
The program was new back then, wasn't it?
That inaugural program.
Yeah.
In 1997-98. So I got the opportunity to do that, and actually that's a funny story. So for most of the public doesn't know that USA Hockey, growing up, I have a son in it right now. At the age of 15, 16, 17, they have national teams. And when they have these national teams, when you're younger, they have winter tournaments. So they'll ask a group of 26 kids to go play in a tournament, take them out of wherever they're playing in the middle of their season, go play in that tournament, and then come back. Well, I did that my junior year and played in a tournament in Viking, Alberta. Went up there, and at the end of that tournament, USA Hockey pitched all those kids that were in that tournament. Hey, we're starting this new program, this national development program where you guys all have invites. We're looking for yays, and if you want, we're ready to go. Not one kid said yes at that initial offering. Everybody kind of sat on it. My dad and I actually told them to go to hell, and came back to Minnesota high school hockey. We had a game, and after we had that first game, I came back. I looked at my dad and go, "We made a mistake." And he goes, "What?" And I remember this day, like, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" He goes, "Yeah, I am." It was the competition we were playing against in that Christmas tournament was so far above and beyond what Minnesota high school hockey could offer the elite players back then. And USA Hockey had that idea, and I was, I think, the third guy to call USA Hockey back and say, "Hey, I apologize for turning it down. I'm in." And so I'm the jerk. I'm the asshole for getting some other Minnesota kids to consider it and go that route. But Adam Hauser was one of those guys too, who we graduated with at the U. He was the goalie at the time that was highly touted, highly recruited, and he was probably the 10th guy to commit. I mean, we had one, but guys started committing. Dave Tanabe was another guy. He's a household name here. But we didn't have any real big names for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, Ricky DiPietro. I don't know if you guys remember that name. Ricky. I mean, I grew up playing with Ricky. He's a year younger than me, but he was number 1 overall draft pick, and that was the thing that kind of turned the lights on for that program, and it's been off and running since. So.
Veeks, didn't he have that really long NHL contract? That
16 years.
Yeah.
Yep, 16 years before the collective bargaining agreement came in 2000. Was it 2004? Yeah, I think 2005 or 6. They signed it because they knew it was going to get term limited.
Oh,
Leo, what was your longest contract?
Oh shit. So shortest 3 months. Longest was a 3-year contract that had a 3/4 of a season work stoppage in it. Which that was the lockout in 2013. That's the longest contract I signed. All the rest of them were 1 and 2 year deals.
Same for me, but Europe's a little bit different animal. You kind of compete. You get like a 1. I had a couple 2-year deals. But yeah, it's a little different animal in Europe, and half the time some of the teams will go bankrupt. Like, so it's a little different there. But I always wanted Leo to come over when they'd have these player lockouts. I think we went through 2 of them? Was it 2 or 3?
I went through 2. I had a concussion from a World Cup of Hockey in 2004, so I was actually collecting somewhat of a paycheck because I was injured. And then the next lockout, I had a signed agreement to go play in Berlin with Barry, with Talixon.
really?
Yep. I had it all locked, ready to go. And the only thing that was preventing me from not going over there was an insurance policy. I needed an insurance policy on I think it was my head at the time. I had a few concussions, and that was the one thing I wanted written in the insurance underwriting. It didn't happen, so I didn't go over there. And then they ended up signing Claude Giroux in my place.
Yeah, and Berlin was awesome. So I played there the year before with Barry. We ended up winning the championship in Berlin, and that was the year before I played in Russia. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey man, like we want you to like come play for our team," and they were going to pay me a bunch of money. I was like, "I don't really care what you're going to pay me. I'm not going." Like, they're like, "We'll double your salary." I was like, "I'll take half of what I was getting in Russia and I'll go play in Berlin and have like a nice life, because this like living in Siberia thing sucks." Like, you had to have K&R insurance, kidnap and ransom insurance.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
So I was like, "All right, whatever, I'm out." So I went and played in Berlin. My buddy, who was like, "Hey, this team really wants you," and they offered me the contract. I still have it in my old Hotmail account. That was the team. That was Lokomotiv Yaroslav, and the plane crashed and killed the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have been on that flight if I would have taken the money, So like, which is kind of wild. You get kind of
no, that's scary, dude.
yeah, like you get that Final Fantasy, thing. But I tell you what, my year in that, so I played 1 year in Berlin, and that whole like feeling like you could have been on that plane thing kind of like messed me up, where I was like, man, we won the championship. And I remember all the guys are like bombing out on the ice, throwing their helmets and stuff. And I remember thinking, I was like, what was my bonus for winning the championship? Like, that was kind of like my thought process. And I was like, all right, when I'm looking at it like more like a job, then maybe it's time to be done. And then that was kind of when I hung up the blades and retired the axe. I had another year on my contract, but I just kind of was like, yeah, I'm done.
I think the Rube wants to keep it a little happier here. He says, Jesus, happy hour took a dark turn.
It says the guy with Pennywise is his picture. Like, come on, dude. Like, the irony is thick over there, Ruby. Like, oh boy.
Is it Ruby or Rube?
Rube or Ruby? Rube?
It's funny. I see that Craig Flores is already chirping
Craig.
us text. He was waiting for overtime just to see how many dumb things you guys would say, I think.
No, don't worry.
Well, we can talk about
has his
Craig
own stories.
Yeah,
he probably has some skeletons.
Oh, Craig knows more than anyone. There's reasons why we've had he was just on overtime last week because he goes into his garage, up there in Vandus Heights, I think that's where he lives. And Jen, all inside, probably doesn't want to put up with his crap anymore. So she sends him out in the garage and he watches the show.
Craig is, he could be one of the longest tenured employees down there. I mean, he's been there forever. And here's a real funny story about Craig. So
Oh,
back when the Twins won the World Series in 1987. Okay, there he is. What do you know? Hi, Craigie.
Oh my God. I honestly, like, Craig, it's so awesome to see you. I love that. Yeah, I love that you're here.
Okay,
Very
so
nice.
Craig
Jordan,
knows
tell that
this.
story. That's hilarious. That
Yeah,
story's
you
awesome.
remember this one? Okay, so
I love that you and
gave me the
Tom
picture.
Ward have the exact same haircut still.
Thank you. Yeah. I just don't say the F word as much as Tom does.
Oh, God.
jeez.
Pitter patter, let's get at her. So, no, back in 1987, Twins won the World Series. My grandma was like a huge Twins fan. So she was at the
It's
parade.
actually 91, actually. Jordan.
Okay, 91, whatever. 87, 91. You're old as hell. So who cares? So
He is.
Yeah, I remember 87. Great year.
Okay, so
I do too.
she's obviously got her 35 millimeter camera, snapping all these photos, this and that. And so as a Christmas gift, I was a big Twins fan. My grandma gives me all these pictures, like a book of pictures. And I, for some reason, going through this book many, many years later, and I don't even know if this was in college or even out of college.
You were out
looking
of
at this. Yeah, I'm looking at this book, and holy crap, I know that guy. And what? I seriously know that guy. Like, that's Juan Berenger, but that's Craig.
Well,
That's a
yeah,
picture of
G.
Craig.
Larkin. Yeah, Gino
Or G.
Larkin. is
Larkin,
what I was walking
whatever.
through.
So
Yeah.
so Craig is pretending to be a security person in this parade. He's
Yep.
walking right next to Gene Larkin's car the whole time, and he's in one of these photos that I got many, many years later.
What
So-
the hell, Craig?
Yeah. Hey,
Who I was working for in college. One of the former employees was with the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce and whatnot. Said anybody that wants to be a marshal in the parade to walk, we'll pay you to do it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I got nothing going that day, so I walked the parade, then went over to the Metrodome for the big celebration. It was awesome. Had a great time.
Yankees ready to rock.
How long have you been at the UV? How long have you been at the U, Craig? Running Mariucci.
28 seasons.
Oh my God.
Hey, Craig, you remember, was it helicopter pilot Dan,
Yeah.
the Zamboni driver?
Oh, Dan. Yeah, he was. He was a load master, but yeah, Dan. I see Dan every other weekend. He still has women's season hockey tickets, so he's over.
So he's still around. Nick, I don't know if you remember him, but if we walked out on the ice with our shoes on, he lost his crap every time. Oh my gosh.
Dan was great.
Honestly, like I think one of the funniest things when I think about the ice, I always think about, like, we had Harry Broadfoot as our equipment manager, who is a legend. I love Harry.
Yes.
Awesome dude. That dude never skated ever. Like, so like you'd come back to him and he's sharpening skates and you're like, hey, the left edge is a little like weird. Can you
Have you seen
No
Craig
clue.
skate?
No,
What's that?
Don't go there.
Have you seen Craig skate? It's pathetic.
Really?
Pathetic, really?
Yeah.
You going pathetic?
Ooh.
Okay. I am quoting Jen Floor, who's the authority on this.
Okay, all right.
Do you think maybe we should have a race between, like Jupe and Craig here? And
I will take Craig.
yeah.
Probably would.
Yeah.
He's probably got a few more links on me. Yeah, it's all good. Did you guys remember Harry's skates that he had hanging in his equipment room?
Oh yeah.
They were the Converse.
Oh yeah. The
What was
Converse
that?
hockey, the hockey skate. Yeah, the basketball hockey skate. Yeah.
Yep. It was basketball. Who was it? Chuck
Taylor.
Chuck Taylor. They were Chuck Taylor at Adidas shoes with a toque under it. It was awesome. They were so cool.
Well, do you remember Harry had the biggest room in Mariucci too?
Oh yeah. It was huge. Lee's got nothing now.
What do you have? Every road trip he had four cases of Twinkies or boxes of Twinkies in the trunk.
Oh, and we had what was our pregame? Not Stubborn. Where the pork chop place.
JD Hoyt's.
JD Hoyt.
Yeah.
He had frozen pork chops just lined up in these freezers. Like it was insane. And he's a big, like in the summer, he used to love to fish, right?
Oh,
so all the boys from our O2 team, we put a bunch of money together and bought him a boat. Well, it turns out Harry just kind of likes to fish from the shore.
We don't even know what he did with the boat. It's probably sitting in his backyard.
Was that the fold-up boat he got, or what kind of boat did you get?
No, that was like an Alumacraft or something.
Yeah,
Really?
like a small little aluminum.
15
little
horse.
putt engine.
He would talk about he had a fold-up boat. You know, it would go down to nothing, and you could pop it up, and then he'd go out float a little
I think
bit.
that was a chair.
No.
Chair.
Was it a cardboard box?
Yeah, he put the chair in between an inner
Yeah,
tube.
Harry and the Twinkies were so famous that every time the McNaughton Cup would go back and forth, there were Twinkies in it, depending which equipment manager had to package it up to get it to Mariucci. There'd be Twinkies in it.
Yeah, I mean,
in the cup.
Jordan knows this. Like, first thing Harry said is, "You're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you need." Like, it was like, oh man, it was. I mean, you would have to beg to get a stick. Like, like now these guys just snap them like they're just give them away. They got a bazillion of them. I mean, it was.
Nick, you were talking about the shootout room. We just cleaned out a bunch of sticks out of their old sticks. It's like, guys, why do you still have 5 sticks in the shooting room?
Yeah.
Current players, you know, and they're the ones they don't want to play with on the ice that are chipped or something's wrong with it, but they'll still do some stick handling up in the room. It's like, we don't need 5 sticks. We only have room for so many sticks up here for men and women in that shooting room. It's unreal.
Well, we used to have wood guys still with wood sticks. Like Nick Anthony had a wood stick. DeMarkey had a wood stick. You know, and then a lot of guys were using wood blades too with their ultralight shafts. And so as a joke, we'd cut halfway through the shaft where there was some kind of tape or like a ribbon around it. So you'd peel that back, cut it, put it back on there. And then guy would go out and take a couple shots, and the thing would just snap.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had to give your stick back to Harry to get another stick.
Like full inspection. Like,
yes, he would inspect them. So he'd be sitting there, you know, looking at this, and he'd see the saw cuts. Who the hell did that? You know, and we're like, I don't know, Harry. Don't know.
5'2" of him would be marching around like little Napoleon, just running around. Who cut this stick?
Yeah, who cut this stick? You know, nobody would fess up to it. And I think we got Nick. You'd be able to tell me. We got one of the coaches one day. I think we got Genner or something. And whoever we got, they blew a gasket. Can't believe you got to do it. But
I think it had to be Genner. Nobody wanted to do it with Wardo our first year because, I mean, that guy gave some of the most motivationally, like, profane pep talks I've ever heard in my life. Like, holy cow.
Yeah, Wooger was just sitting in the corner, just like daydreaming. Wardo was going off.
You know who did the best? I mean, Jordan, you know this. The guy that could do the best Doug Woog impression was Dave Spihar. I mean, it was hilarious. Like, Jesus, David, what are you doing? Like, I mean, he could just get it. Like, I mean, it was just perfect. Like, he'd get up there, David be in his whitey tighties, you know, like making stuff up on the board. Because he'd literally be up there in his whitey tighties and like a stretched out T-shirt up on the board, you know, making notes, putting things on there, and.
Well, so Nick and I, when we first got on campus, I don't even know. I mean, Nick, I hope you dressed the first couple of games, but you know this story. So, first couple weekends, we're on the bench, and Wooger's calling out lines, and he just keeps yelling, Hank, you're up next. Hank, you're up next. And he's referring to Casey Hankinson. Well, Casey Hankinson graduated the year before.
Yeah, different 9. That's Johnny Poole. That's not a different Niner out there, Coach.
So we get a penalty. Hey, get out there, go take the draw. Hey, it's not here again. What do we call him? Foogie at that time? I think it was
Woogie.
Yeah, Foogie. Oh, it's funny. He was
something.
Craig, it looks like you got a fan here. We got Andrew Carlson talking. Has there been any new story about how Floor runs the state tournament grandstand in the last 15 minutes?
Wow.
Probably time for another one.
What about the grandstand? I don't know.
Well, you've been in haven't you had headlines in both newspapers and obviously the Julie Nelson
Yeah,
incident?
thank you, by the way. That was very nice on my birthday.
Yeah, to show that you see, years ago, Julie Nelson did a story with Belle Jensen, and she's like during the story on Care 11, she goes, "Oh, Craig, you're my favorite guy at the fair."
At the fair, yep.
And
So
so I
backstage and some different things. It was great. It was very nice.
and I knew Dave Schwartz over there at Care 11, and he got me a signed photo from Julie Nelson. It says to Craig Floor, my favorite guy at the fair.
Yep.
And that was 8 years ago or something like that. And this week I put it out on the internet, of course. Yep. Is it in your office? Do you still get that photo in your office?
Yes. Yep.
There you go. And Julie wished you a happy birthday.
Yep. She did. It was awesome.
She still likes you.
All these years you've worked at grandstand and never told us?
People didn't know. I've only been there for 30. I've only been there. No, I've been at Mariucci Jordan for 28 seasons.
Oh, yeah,
I've been working backstage at the state fair for 35. I've been backstage at the state
just
fair
30, just 35. 35.
Yeah.
That's why he's the Craig Floor, because he knows everybody. He knows all the athletes. He's met all the superstars like Pink and whoever. He knows them all.
Yeah.
Well,
Craig, what are you drinking, by the way?
What am I drinking? A Summit Saga Imperial Ale.
Okay, got it. Nice.
Wow.
It'll kick your ass, by the way. But anyway, but it's good.
Jupiter.
Where is your better half? How come she hasn't made it on the show yet?
I don't know.
She doesn't know he's in the garage.
Probably not.
Yelling, Craig, where are you? Craig.
Crickets. Yeah.
What? No, a serious question. So all these years you've worked the grandstand, okay?
Yep.
Are you head of what? Like, what's the title here?
I'm the operations manager. I basically do the same thing I do at the rink, and then the other part I do is kind of the event management side. So help make sure that the ticket takers, the ushers, the agent security, the concessions guys, everybody knows what's going on when we get to that show. So I'm just pulling all that information together, kicking it back out. So, and then I'm the end all if something, S hits the fan, then I'm one of the key contacts for that kind of stuff too. So,
do you take the Gopher? Do you take the Gopher bus from Mariucci all the way over?
No.
He's got a posh parking spot. I mean,
yeah.
Leo's sizing you up. For possibly like a job placement at Mississippi Gardens, or
I just want to be an usher.
He wants to be an usher.
Or we'll put you up cutting some trees.
Yeah, if there's any trees at the fairgrounds that need cutting, Jordan wants that contract.
Jordan knows I'll go cut with him too. I'll go and cut trees
You
with him.
would.
It'd be
You'd
fun.
probably hang me in the tree, Craig.
No.
Leo, you want to talk about the hardest bag skate we ever had? You want to tell that story?
Oh God, do I have to tell the precursor to that?
I
have to tell it all.
That
I'll tee you up. I'll tee you up. So Jordan and I were not part of this, but we were a little bit because we got swept out in Denver.
Yeah.
It was our junior year. Yeah, because Westy was still there. It was our junior year. We got swept out in Denver. Not like we lost 2-1, like we got our ass handed to us consecutively. And then a couple of the guys, Jordan and I not included, took some T-shirts that just said Denver hockey out of a box, and then that got brought up So Lucia was super pissed. Plus we got our ass kicked. Plus guys went out and weren't home at curfew at about the right time, and we're kind of lipping off a little bit. So we go to and that's Don was trying to get ice for us on Sundays, as we were flying back to just bag skate us. And we all knew it was coming on Monday. I was kind of sick to my stomach thinking about it because you knew the hammer was going to get dropped. And I'll let Leo take it from there.
Let's just say it was not good. So we had God, it's so stupid. So we pull into the rink in Denver, and there's all these T-shirt boxes laying.
Well, no, just tell the story about the bag skate, how it actually went.
No, but the T-shirts are funny, and this is part of the bag skate. So we all took a free T-shirt basically out of these boxes and took it back with us. Well,
free T-shirt.
Okay, so, it was a free.
Well, probably
T-shirt.
for the students or something like that. They were handing out at the game.
Exactly. Yeah. But we're like, hey, we're college kids. We need some garb.
Yeah.
So we all
undergarment.
We all took one, got our ass kicked. We get back to campus. We thought we were going to get rinsed when we got back on the flight. Didn't happen. So we knew Monday we were going to get it. Well, we have a team meeting the next day before we so-called get our peepees whacked. And I remember John Weibel's sitting in his stall. He has the T-shirt on.
Oh, jeez.
He has the T-shirts that we stole from the rink on. And I don't know if Don really saw it, but, Don came in and he gave us, his 2 cents. And then Genner gave us his 2 cents. And it was
we had 3 groups. We had the guys that really didn't do anything, 30 minutes. I was in the 30-minute. I think Jordan was too.
Nope, I was in the 60.
Oh, you got the 60. Okay, I was in the 30-minute bag skate.
I didn't get the 90.
He had 30, 60, and 90, depending on your level of severity of infraction. And
your involvement. Yeah.
I remember, and I mean, it was the most crazy bag. I mean, guys were puking after 10 minutes. Like it was wild. And I remember, want to tell the part about O'Leary?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
So Pat O'Leary and we went to Armstrong together, best buddies. Nick was roommates with him freshman year. Kind of a clown. Obviously he's coaching now and this and that, but at the time he was a 4th line guy, just kind of having fun. And he kind of shied away from the hard work aspect of things. So we get bagged. We get absolutely rinsed. He was in the 60-minute group with me. We get back in the locker room, and he all of a sudden just starts blowing up. And when I mean blowing up, like you guys ever played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, like Soda Popinski, if you remember that character, he walks out with these huge freaking muscles, and he has no little tiny legs. His chest
exploded. Honest to God, it looked like. I mean, it was comical. Like, I mean, we were just laughing about it. Like, it was like chest was like.
Whoa! Hold on. 1 second, Craig. Are you getting harassed by your wife right now? Because I just texted her to come out to see you.
Yep, I hear her.
Yep, he's getting harassed by Jen right now.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. It's all good.
Thank you, Jen Floor. You are the best. Sorry to interrupt that, but I could just tell by the look on his face that Jen had entered the garage.
Yep. It's all good. All right, carry on with your story, boy.
Yes.
So, O'Leary ends up we almost had to take him to the hospital. He had some allergic reaction to some hard work or something.
Like his whole chest swelled. It was crazy. Like just one of his pec muscles was massively swelled. I have no idea what happened there, but it was. Yeah, that was a tough one. We had 30, 60, 90 minutes.
Well, and I got in trouble because I was rooming with Westy that weekend. So look at Craig even go, ooh. I had Westy, so I got automatic 60 for that, and it was just.
Was that the weekend Westy shit in an ice bucket?
Nope. That was
college.
Okay, fine. We opened up Pandora's box.
Here we go.
So we go up and we play. It was a St. Cloud home at home. It was the
first time we ever did. Yeah.
Is that when you wore the maroon helmets?
Oh, I rose up.
That was that year. Well, no, it wasn't that year.
I don't remember if we had those.
Oh, that was our senior. Was that?
But we had home at home, and we went up and I think we lost 4-2 up in St. Cloud, and we stayed up there the night before to get a good night's sleep, and for some reason Westy pooped in a ice bucket. I don't know, right? Whatever.
It leaned it on the door, I think,
and left it. And so the next morning we have our team meeting, and it's Saturday, and you know you're gonna get shredded on the video, right? And we sit us down, and Don is like, "All right, which one of you guys shit in an ice bucket and left it in the And, we're like, I mean, I have no idea. I think most guys had no idea, right? And Westy just like raises his hand. He's like, me. He's like, why would you shit?
Hey,
in a ice
wow,
bucket?
he owns right up to it. I love it.
Yeah, no. And they asked him, they're like, why would you shit in an ice bucket? I always shit in a bucket. That was like literally his answer. And then he said, he was like, and Don was like, well, you played like shit. And he's like, no, I didn't. I had a goal and an assist. Check the tape. Like, Don didn't even know what to say. He was just like, okay, Genner, you want to run the clip? Like, just run the clip. He had no clue.
Oh,
Like, that was one of the. I've never seen a coach speechless.
Yeah, he was just like, Genner, what do we got for the PK breakdown? Like, he had no clue. Like,
wow.
he owned it and trumped him. Just, here's my like overcard.
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah, you raise, I re-raise.
Great, good story,
Owen.
Craig.
Thanks. I've only heard a few, but it's all good.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait till I have a different one with Johnny Poole. We'll have to wait for that one when John's on.
Gosh.
Johnny was
Yeah,
a clean
just-
cut. He never did anything.
He did though, but it's a good Don story. But anyway,
Oh, it's a
Sorry,
Don story. Oh. Oh boy.
Oh boy, McDonald.
I've always been curious, what was that first game at the new Ralph like when you guys beat them? Well, obviously, Leo, you had that ridiculous goal. The streamers are coming down for opening this brand new arena, and you guys just wrecked the whole thing for them. That had to have been pretty satisfying.
They threw us a freaking party.
fireworks for the
Yes.
It was great. It was
We had
awesome.
streamers
We
and
won the
everything
game.
for you.
We won the game and we had streamers coming down. It wasn't green and white. It was maroon and gold streamers coming down. It was amazing.
It was. I remember being disappointed though, because like, oh, Craig's getting yelled at here. I remember being disappointed because there were rumors that Whitney Houston was going to sing the national anthem.
Oh, I do. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, "Who's this random student they just brought out here? That doesn't look like Whitney Houston for sure." But that was remember, and in like 2 years before that, our sophomore or junior year, remember who we ran into at the hotel, Leo?
Oh yeah, Tone Loke.
Tone Low.
Are you serious?
Funky Cold
Medina.
He was like
Wow.
playing like, and I got his autograph, and I was like, "Oh, that's the dude from like, yeah, like Funky Cold Medina." And he wrote "Go Gophers," like Goffers. Tone Low 2000.
Oh, what do you got there? Is that which year is that? Oh, that's a Sioux
That is-
one.
the souvenir 6-pack that Coca-Cola did for that Hall of Fame game opening Ralph Engelstad.
Oh.
Look
That's
at
pretty
that.
Yep.
I mean, I'll give them. This is the only compliment I'll ever give them, but I do like their logo.
That they can't use anymore. What a shame.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is say, "Hey,
Yeah.
how did the Fighting Hawks do this weekend?" Oh, shut
Dude,
up!
I can't believe
Yeah.
I can't believe he showed that logo. You're probably gonna get canceled now.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll get yelled at for something else too anyway. It doesn't matter.
No
Only
grandstand
parking,
for
Craig.
you. You're done.
Yeah.
Yep, you're gonna work parking now.
Only if we criticize the parking does Craig get in trouble.
I know.
Or high
Were
school
you at that game,
graduations.
Craig? Did you go up there for that one?
We did. Jen and I were up there for that weekend. Yeah, it was awesome. Fireworks show, walk out of the building, fireworks show. Look what they did for the Gophers. That's awesome. It was great.
So the old Ingolstadt.
Yeah, I never went there.
Oh man, that was the best. I mean, everybody knew when the Gopher bus was pulling up. You had the park right outside the arena.
Mm-hmm.
There were people having bonfires out there and garbage cans. But when our bus pulled up, everybody was throwing snowballs at us. I mean,
Your model, like you better grab your shit off the bus quick.
you were sprinting off the bus, so you didn't
Wow.
you get pegged. I mean, it was a war
Beer
zone.
bottle to the head before the game. That's gonna wake you up. Like,
Well, I
Whereas at the
remember
new Ralph, the bus just drives into the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah. I got a penalty my freshman year up in the old Ingolstadt, and the penalty box is all surrounded by concrete. And then above it, there's no glass or anything. So the student section is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I take a seat on my bench, and all of a sudden I get a 44-ounce Diet Coke or a Coke just poured right over my head. I mean, this is within the first 5 minutes of gig. This is Ralph Ingles. Wow. And they're just yelling at me the whole time I'm in the box. I'm like, I wanted to leave. Get me out of here. And then the other thing is national anthem. They turned all the lights down. And I don't know if they did this consecutively, but I remember the one time somebody lit a packet of Black Cats in the stands. And it was boom, 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 boom. And this is before 9/11, so nobody thought anything of it. But I could just only imagine if that happened today. Oh my gosh!
It would not go.
Yeah, Craig, you would have people that. Yeah, you would have people to answer to on that one.
Oh yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden. Can't light fireworks off anymore in the arena.
I will say both Vigo and I went up there last year, and we did a podcast from one of their suites, a live podcast. We hate their team, but the staff that they had up there, great staff, and they're just as passionate about college hockey as we are. We had a couple drinking evenings with Brad Schlossman. They're big writer up there, great guy. Yeah, we hate their team, but we love that they're in college hockey because they just make it all that much better. They do.
Yeah.
And they embrace the rival. They hate us just as much, but there's just that common hate, and the staff couldn't have been more helpful to us, V, could they? I mean, they were great up there for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's their big show up there in North Dakota. It's that hockey team. That's what they care about, and that's
apparently I'm already drunk. Yeah, this is the last of the bottle, by the way.
And they travel great.
Hey, what's the
every
alcohol?
time they're on the schedule?
The Kool-Aid?
Yeah, what's the percentage alcohol in that? Are we double digit? Did we?
I don't know.
What do you think's stronger, my beer or Jupe's wine?
Your
going your beer for sure.
Yeah,
15.4,
but
15.4.
I'll have Barb bring me down a real drink.
Hey,
Barb,
Craig,
if you're watching, Barb,
are you nice to North Dakota when they come in?
Now I am.
Oh, okay.
Barry's all right.
Wait, was that Jen just cackling there? Come on, come here, get on camera, Jen. Come on, Jen, say hello. Where are you?
That was Kamala.
So
where is your better half? Come on, Jen.
Jammies.
Jen,
No.
there she is. Jen.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bears.
Go,
We won
go
tonight. Hey, the
Bears.
Bears won tonight. The daughter got a goal. It was a great night.
Nice.
It was a good night.
I'll crack a beer to that.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick.
Duh, Bears.
The Bears. Exactly.
Wow. Well, thanks for joining us, Jen.
Yeah, great.
What does a hockey mom the night before Thanksgiving have going on at the floor house? That's what I want to know.
She didn't even know that Craig was on with us. I had to text her.
Yeah.
The hockey coach was making cranberry salad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So are you not happy that he was out in the garage, or?
I don't care.
I didn't know if you wanted him to come back into the house so you could put your cold toes on him or something or whatever.
Does Craig have a she shed?
This is the garage.
Yeah.
It's the garage.
Oh no, a real she shed, outside the getaway.
No, this is where I go. It's been carpeted since COVID, Jordan.
Oh
yeah.
You really? I don't remember the carpenter when I was there last.
Yeah. Well, you were there. Year and a half. Year a little bit.
Yeah,
ago.
last summer, 23.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
carpeted.
so they play lawn. They play jarts at the
Real
floor house. They have real jarts from the 70s. I swear, they're dangerous.
Oh yeah, I had those at the lake. Yeah,
oh yeah,
those are.
Jen's
awesome.
proud of those.
We need to get shirts that say "Bring Jarts Back."
Oh yeah.
With a jart in a leg.
If you want to see an amazing, the guy that's got an amazing shed, Jordan Jordan has an amazing shed and like all the toys ever. Like, I think he just collects machinery. Like, I mean, did you buy like a forklift the other day at a Bobcat?
I have a towable lift. I have an excavator. I have a Bobcat, 2 dingoes. Yeah, toys. Yeah.
Right there.
He who dies with the most toys wins. Jordan is definitely winning right now.
The legends never die.
Right there.
Cylinder index.
What's that?
Souchere always had the cylinder index. If you know anything about Joe Souchere on.
Oh yeah.
Cylinder index. So you got to add up all the cylinders.
I know, but you're aging yourself when you say Souchere.
Craig, how old did you just turn? Are you 53, 54? 54?
54. Yep.
Congrats.
That's too bad, Craig. You got like 30 years on Nick and I.
I know.
How many surgeries have you had?
You wish, guys.
What was that, Nick?
How many surgeries have you had, though?
0.
Yeah.
At least you don't have a vagina on your like Nick does right now.
Nick's wearing he's wearing turtlenecks the rest of his life.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my buddies came in and he's like, "Wow, you totally screwed up Christmas photos. Like, how's your turtleneck collection? You better get that thing rocking."
Oh,
yeah, it's not good. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. Apparently, I'm supposed to like rub some scar cream on it or something, but I'm just gonna tell people like, yeah, it was a knife fight.
Hey, Craig, on a serious note, have you ever had any injuries at work?
Once I rode a cart down the ramp towards the Zamboni area, and I rolled it. That was on game night, but I didn't get hurt.
When you say a cart, what kind of cart?
Like a 4-wheel cart, like you would haul things around the building with. I turned it around, riding down it.
So you're being stupid then.
Cart?
Oh yeah, I was being dumb as hell.
Oh, so you were Jamaican bobsled team.
Oh yeah, exactly. Riding the cart all alone, and I tipped it over forward, and I rolled all the way down into the Zamboni area. It was hilarious.
And how many drinks deep was that?
Oh, it's 0. Before a game. It was during or before a game.
Craig, do you remember when Goldie they used to get like that red toboggan and go down the stairs, and he did it on the corner and like clotheslined himself like, and I came in after warm-ups because I had to like change a tape on my wrist or something. I mean, there's Goldie getting like 9 zippers right across the forehead, like clothesline.
Barbie, say hi to Jen.
Hello, Jen Floor.
Mom
and Meatloaf.
That one. The other one, Nick.
She brought gifts.
Oh boy.
Because I need to drink more.
Yeah. Nick, there was one afterwards that he slid down that thing and he broke his ankle.
Broke his leg.
Smashed into the dasher boards at the bottom.
Could you see Broxy back in the day?
I haven't seen him in a while. That's all
yeah, Broxy. Love Broxy.
Yep. Good stuff.
Brox was our old medical guy.
Medical trainer.
Yeah.
Cheers, Vigs.
Yeah. And then we got the Kiffer.
Kiffer. California wine man.
Tom Tiff. Didn't they call him Tom Tiff at some point? Like in the paper or something? That was
it was something wrong. Yeah, I remember that.
Tom Tiff.
It's out in California now.
Yeah, I know. He's living the good life now.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Where is he? Is he out in Colorado or something? Yeah.
California,
yeah.
All right, Jen's gone. Get back in the middle of the screen there, Craig.
No, she's coming back.
Oh, okay.
Leo, I can tell like you've got like I thought maybe we'd wall mount that phone with some of that duct tape I know you got laying around there. We could probably mount that on some of that machinery, you'd think. It was either that or I thought one of your kids was going to be holding the phone for you the whole time.
No, my kid's like on the other side looking, going, "Hey, Dad, can I talk to you?" Like, no, I'm on a call.
Yeah, no, put them on. Let's bring them on. Let's see what he wants to say.
They're like, who are these people and why are they talking to you?
And then I had my 2 dogs came down here, and then they're going to jump on me, and I just gave them the evil eyes bowed down.
Jupe making mistakes. Cheers, Mote. Cheers.
Oh, it was.
Ooh, oh, boy.
What mistakes are we making?
Getting drunk on the air.
Oh,
wow.
That's not a mistake. That's fine.
Yeah, but I got to edit this podcast after.
Jupe's
You know, I
not
think-
exactly a professional when it comes to drinking the hard liquor, so it could get interesting quick.
That's because
Well-
I had dinner a long time ago, and I drank an entire bottle of wine, and now I'm drinking whiskey.
Boone's Farm is not a bottle of wine.
Okay, it's not Boone's Farm.
Bartles and James, somebody? What?
No, it's Fox Run, a local winery.
Hey Nick, what did John Hill used to say? Nothing good happens after when?
Was it nothing that good happens after like 2 or 3 or whatever it is?
Okay. I remember in Campus Pizza, Cade Fairchild poking fun at John Hill.
Oh, no way. No way.
Because they came to Campus Pizza and they were already showing the replay of the Gopher hockey game, and John Hill during the second period intermission kind of has his nose up high and kind of talking like this, and he's just laughing at him, going, "This guy, oh wait a minute,
Ooh.
Vigo, okay, we're putting it. What do you got there? You got some. Wow,
15 years at Scotch? What is that?
It's a bourbon. It's a Russell's 15.
wow,
Rare bourbon. So
you're drinking real stuff.
This is a real one. So
That's
I'm a
high.
bourbon
That's
guy.
some high class stuff there. Hey,
And you remember Vigs, but you were the one who introduced me to larceny.
Yeah, the Wall of Whiskey up in Duluth.
The Wall of Whiskey in Duluth, correct.
After a Duluth game, we went through about 50 bottles, taking little half-ounce pours and sharing them.
It was a long night.
Juke like that one.
Where?
It was a long night.
Like in the hotel room, or did you guys just walk over to
it's buddy
old Chicago?
There.
I've got a buddy who lives up in Duluth on Superior Street, like an old timber.
Well, here we
mansion.
go. Family's involved in the podcast now. Look at that.
Why are you not in bed? Did mom make the meatloaf?
Shut up.
No? Oh, okay. All right. Kyle said shut off the lights? Yeah, okay. Oh.
Yeah, okay. Leo needs more kids. Seriously, more kids and more skid steers.
There's another kid somewhere on my puppers.
Oh, the dogs will get good airtime. The dogs,
Yeah.
like people like that.
Oh yeah, litter mates.
Dude, I wonder, do any of the guys have dogs on the team? I wonder.
Haven't seen many.
No, Hughlin. I think Hughlin does.
Well, yeah, he's got a kid on the way too. But that's
Huglin's married. He's got a kid on the way, and he's got a dog.
He doesn't bring it to the rink though. I haven't seen
Do
it.
you remember, Nick, when Antone and Hammer had Smokey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Smokey, oh man,
That's real.
the things we did to that hunting dog.
The wise. I don't know about that, but
we fed that. We fed.
I don't need PETA calling me up here.
Yeah, we fed that dog some very interesting desserts. Oh man, I mean, it actually was a halfway decent dog, but poor thing. College kids take care of a dog.
Times are different, but I mean, I think, you just look at like all the kids now, they're so much more professional. I was figured like, yeah, of course they're probably getting married and like, they're more regimented. We were obviously a little wild.
Well, imagine what it's like to be a hockey player now. Everyone's got a phone. You can't.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, you think about it. We used to see, we'd go to the library when I was young and see all the players there underage, whatever it was.
Studying, right?
Shocking.
Yeah.
College
Studying.
players drinking.
Well,
But, you can't imagine that today because someone would get it on a phone somewhere. Could you imagine the social media when you guys played?
That was the whole Blarney's thing in 04, whenever that was Ehrman and
Frazee.
It was Frazee, Long Island Frazee.
all that stuff with Channel 9.
Oh god.
Undercover.
Like Sugar, Anderson from
Sweep.
What's going on, Craig? I'm like, everybody's got a phone, they can take video, and if your girlfriend's getting hit on by somebody else, they have a grudge, or whatever. And it all hit.
Well, Viggs, we were here and somebody, what was it? Logan Cooley.
Logan Cooley had some gal that came on here and was in the chat, like just flooding
during our live
about
show.
him. Yeah. It was wild.
And just started ripping on him. I'm like, oh my God.
Like, we're going to kick you out of the chat.
The heart wants.
Logan Cooley is not going to be your soulmate. He's got different plans in life. Sorry, that's not going to work out for you.
Classy lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, can you tell us about Craig's skating skills?
He's okay.
Adequate.
You've trained her well. Good job, Jen.
Cotner could skate better than me, which is probably true.
Yeah, probably.
And I'm not that good of a skater. Nick esteemed me.
I'm not that very good of a skater.
Oh,
That's Jordan.
stop. Come on. God, shut up.
Yeah. The nimble moose.
Nice.
Heavy.
Wait.
Heavy
When's the
boots.
last time you played a professional game?
Which one?
I never have, by the way.
Well,
Just
no,
saying.
what, Nick. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, was it?
I'm looking it up right now because
Oh,
I don't even know when my last game was.
I bet it was 2015.
Yeah, 2014,
hold on, let me
15.
see.
Where did he go?
Gotta get another bottle of Boone's Farm.
Is he going to?
No,
is
he's
he
going
to-
small. Just the Bartles and James is fine.
He's going to mash grapes.
So yeah, 2015 was my last
15.
year.
Here it is, a Nick Angell stick right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh way.
Wow.
That was a warrior, so that was at the end of your career, Nick, for sure.
Yeah, it was.
I think I got one right behind. I think
What's
I got
the
another
choke?
one
What's the
behind
choke
me.
curve on that? Is that been under the door frame?
Oh gosh.
70 flex on that one.
Wait. Let's
100,
go.
I think.
What do you got
That
here?
one
I'll
here,
go full
too.
screen on you. What do you got there?
Yeah, look, yeah, we're
This is
going.
like the newer one, I think. I don't know. When Alpha back in the day. I don't know.
This is Alpha QX.
Yeah, Alpha DX or something. I mean, Jordan, it's like you don't even know what the paint job is, like, because what the companies will do when you get your deal is, you might like XYZ stick, and they're like, well, we'll just make you that stick, but we're gonna put the new paint job with the bells and whistles and whatever.
Dressed as.
Yeah, it's like what's actually underneath the paint job. So
Yeah. So shocker, there's no kids up at this time watching, but any kids that are watching,
Other than yours.
sit. We call that good parenting, Craig.
Yes.
Okay, so Sidney Crosby's stick that he's using is a stick that is 12 years old. It's just painted to make you buy new sticks.
Really?
Oh,
So
yeah.
he's using the same stick he has been for years.
Yes.
Worked for a long
Yes.
time for him.
Yep. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yep.
That's for a lot of guys. My sticks, even my Eastons, I remember we had SE16s, which was a huge model. And then they tried changing their models to 17s and this and that. I still had the same SE16.
Yeah, SE16s are the best. The 17s was when they were trying to like do this stupid taper thing,
Yes.
and it's like
Yes.
they come out with all these fancy names. It's a bunch of garbage crap. It's like, just give me that SE16. That thing was awesome. And actually, speaking of synergies, we talked about sticks. When Johnny Poole scored that goal against Maine, when he came down on the left side and shot at top glove, we've talked about this as a collective, like alumni group. That goal was a synergy goal. Like that goalie was not ready for that like whip, as the guy he just pulled it back. I mean, if you have a 2-piece stick, it doesn't come off the blade like that. And I think honestly, Johnny would not have for sure not scored that goal if he didn't have that synergy stick. He was the only guy on our team to have the stick. So before the season, you go to skate and stick day where you pick out your gloves and your skates and all this stuff, right? They have all the reps there. And I remember I said, oh, I'm going to try that Easton stick too. And then I got a call from Don like the next day that was like, did you sign up for one of those sticks? Yeah, you're not going to get that. You can use what you used last year.
Yeah, so the story on that one was Don, before we had skate and stick day, he pulled Johnny and I in the room and he goes, "Hey, if you guys want synergies, you can have them." And I'm like, no, I'm good. Johnny's going, "Yeah, I'll take a synergy. Yeah, I'll have it." So Johnny was the only one with a synergy on that team because Don never took my, me turning it down, and he didn't pass it on to somebody else. Like the next guy would have probably been Jeff Tafe. Like never offered it to him. So just that's kind of how it went.
Well, back in the day, everybody wanted to wear Easton skates because they were, or Mission skates, sorry, because they were so much more comfortable. And the old Bowers were just like, I mean, guys were just taping up their ankles like crazy. And like, I mean, you just had padding all over. Every guy was getting their ankles taped because it was just, you had bunions going everywhere. And like, they were rubbing and they were pretty tough, especially those like early Vapor ones that were just like pure plastic. And it was like, okay, if you get to your senior year, you can wear Missions. And I was like, oh my God, it's finally my senior year. I need some Missions, like, because my ankles are just on fire. And they were like, yeah, no, you're a senior, but you can just piss right off. We're going to give these Ballard. So, Ballard, I hope you enjoyed those Missions, buddy.
I still use my Missions. I love my Mission Amp 7s. Love them. Great skate.
Yeah.
Because they were wider. I was not big on Bauer because they weren't wide enough.
I've got my graphs from like 2002, like the last handmade skate graphs.
Really? Yeah, because my Missions I got around the time we started playing hockey together, Nick, back in like 02, 03, something like that.
Craig's got a pair of Microns out there for him.
No, they're Bauer, like they were $56 or something I paid for a long time ago.
Those Microns were sweet, like with the little white clip right on the front.
Heck yeah.
That was like the Paul Coffey skate. I think he used to rock those, and like Cam Neely. That white clip, honestly, the other, like, that was maybe a year ago. I was on eBay trying to find a pair of 11.5s of those because I would just rock those in the men's league. Those things were sweet.
Vigs, what is Moore wearing? Isn't Moore wearing something a bit different this year?
Well, he's wearing the CCMs, but he's got the 125th. He's got the 125th anniversary edition, so it's got the white kind of like middle of the sole.
652, the 652 tack look.
Yeah, it's that look, but it's still got all the technology.
The Mike Madonna 652 tacks. Yeah. Oh gosh, they're great skate.
Ollie's a gear geek, so he's like a CCM guy, so he gets all the sticks and skates and all the attention. So good for him. I think he and Abby Murphy are the only two Minnesota players who have the skates, and then there's like 3 other college players that have them. I think maybe like Ryan Leonard or something like that, and 2 others. So CCM was really select with who got them.
But they're selling them at market though now, aren't they?
I think they released like a limited edition of this style, but only like 5 college players got them, and Ollie and Abby were 2 of them.
Okay, I saw a high school kid have them the other day, and I was like, "Whoa, that's a throwback!" And now next thing they're gonna do is come out with the black blades.
Yeah. That would be sweet, right along with Cooperalls.
Oh, no.
There was a high school team that did the Cooperall look for the tourney, wasn't it? Like Hill Murray or something that did that? They had a Cooperall look.
Hill Murray was like the originators.
Right, so I think they had like a throwback where they had like breezer covers and socks that made it look like Cooperalls.
I don't think Johnny wouldn't let that happen. He's the AD there. Not a
chance. I had Cooperalls my Squirt A year, and honestly, like, they were awesome. Like, but the girdle was like the best part. Like, cause like they were I loved like wearing that. Like, it was almost like a football pad where it just kind of like fit you versus like when you put your breezers or hockey pants on, like they're kind of a little more loose and almost just like a cone on your leg. But I loved. Did you wear the normal pants, Jordan, or did you go to like the?
No, I had the so-called, well, we call them breezers in Minnesota, and you say breezers outside of Minnesota, you are getting ripped.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
That's why I said both. I was like, I don't know if we got any. Like,
they're hockey pants, and I will say one of the best inventions ever made was the Tackala belt. Okay, where you pulled your breezers nice and snug. Yep. Everybody has it now, but that was one of the best inventions in hockey because before that you had suspenders on. And I was the kid with old Cooper breezers with suspenders. And then that tackle belt came out, like, oh my gosh, is best
lock and load. It's like a zip tie for your waist.
Yep, it's unbelievable. And then we thought it was a fashion trend too. So in high school, we were wearing tackle belts with our jeans and thought it was sweet.
Did you put the suspenders over your shoulder pads or under them?
I put them under.
Okay.
Under, but some guys will obviously throw them over. Yep. Goalies were the only ones that really wore suspenders anymore. Nobody really wore them. Just extra added weight.
You mentioned Johnny Poland. I would love to have him on the podcast, but he's an athletic director. He's not going to come on and share the big secrets and all the good stories.
Johnny was asleep at 9:00 anyway, so you weren't going to get any good stories.
That's probably true. Pat Micheletti bitches about how our podcast starts so late. I'm like, oh, come on, just suck it up, and he usually does.
He has dinner at 4:30. He's
probably. But the thing is, people have always told us, why don't you get players on? Get players on, current players, and I'm like, they're so trained, they're not going to give us anything. They're going to give us, because you guys know what it's like. Because Minnesota's a big media market. They tell you, just give the generic answers. Don't give us anything. And that's why I've always thought, I've talked with Biggs about this over the years. I'm like, yeah, it would be great to have current players on, but you're just going to get the generic answers. Having former players on who no longer play hockey, you get good stories like, Westrom shitting in an ice bucket.
That was Craig.
I know, but
Craig brought that up. Like that was.
I just heard that story. I don't.
Friendly fire. Shots fired.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know which way it goes. Yeah, Craig goes down there. Yeah. That was Craig.
That's my story. Yeah, I heard that story. Didn't know who did it, but yeah.
Oh, so you could neither confirm nor deny.
Oh, he let you guys confirm it.
Oh, okay.
I
know nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. But no, I mean, I remember our first freshman year. You had to go to media training, and I still remember the ABCs. I can't talk about that, but I can talk about that. Like if somebody's asking about injuries and stuff like that, we had to do all of the media training. But nobody ever interviewed me, so it didn't matter.
More about social media, what you can't say on the, what these guys.
I mean, come on. You go from like Vanek dropping an F-bomb on Fox Sports Live.
No, one of the best interviews, and we talked about the media training, was they would tell us if you don't like the question or don't know where it's going, just say no comment. So Matt DeMarchi gets interviewed. His first time freshman year. I don't know if he scored a goal or what, but he gets interviewed in between periods. He answered every question, no comment. I wish I had a tape of it, but no, he answered every question, no comment.
Oh my god!
And that was Frank and I think Wooger at the time, and Wally doing it. Gosh.
Oh.
No comment.
Frank has been on this show at least 10 times. He's been one of our favorite guests. He was our first guest we ever had on the show. I'm sad he's not part of Gopher Hockey anymore. He's just a legend. But we still got Wally calling games. TVs, it's a little different these days. Not the same as it was when you guys were there. But you know what? I still embrace it.
At least I can find the games now because they're on Fox 9 Plus, most of them. That does help. Before it's like, man, where's the game tonight? Oh, I got to buy this package.
We're gonna bounce around in December here a little bit. We got FS1 and then we got Big Ten Network.
I mean, honestly, I have so many subscriptions because I was like, well, do I want to pay the month or am I watching another? I'll just do the year and then I'll remind myself in 364 days to.
So you did the Peacock thing last week?
Honestly, my internet and cable bill is just off the chart. I don't even know what I own. It's
good thing you're in the finance industry now.
You
can afford it all.
It's so crazy. I have Peacock Plus. think, and Disney and whatever else.
Disney, Paramount, Netflix,
Reach around,
Hulu,
it's all good.
ESPN Plus. Gosh,
I mean, that was the best thing when we were playing, and it was. I didn't care what bar you go to or bar restaurant in the state of Minnesota on Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. The Church of Gopher Hockey was in session.
Yep.
Every night. And I knew it was, for me, it was channel 37, like Midwest Sports Channel. Like you knew what that channel was and you knew where to go. And it was like 7 o'clock Friday and Saturday night.
I mean, you think about it, the movie Fargo, you can hear Frank Mazzacco calling a Gopher hockey game in the background of a scene.
I didn't know that.
That's how integrated it was in the bar scene, the scene back then, because Frank Mazzacco says he still gets royalty checks, like a couple pennies.
Oh, really?
Frank Mazzacco still gets royalty checks from Fargo because he is in the movie as a voice you hear in the background.
One of the bar scenes in Grumpy Old Men has it too.
Yep.
Yep.
The original or 2?
You get too detailed, Jordan. Come on.
The sequel's never as good.
I think it's the original.
It's a different environment. It's, a lot of schools, you can't go to North Dakota and control TV anymore. It's just, it's different. Everything changes. That's just how it is. And
But we talk about Gopher Hockey as the best broadcast package of any.
They still do.
Team.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. It might be on different channels all over the place, but they still are on TV more than anybody else.
Yep. And the U makes it a priority. They partner with the Rush Media guys to make sure they have a good broadcast, and it's always there when they have control. So,
not sober.
Yeah, you took a little step up from the grape juice you were having there earlier.
Hey, you got to warm up.
Are you feeling all warm and fuzzy inside yet?
Oh, I am.
Yeah? Okay.
Really?
All right.
Oh boy.
Like all I know is you guys start pulling out that whiskey. All I remember was Monday nights taking Rowdy Cowboys at the Hog's Breath.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Southern Comfort, Jim Beam.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
So cool. I nightmares.
I can't drink either.
No.
To this day anymore.
I cannot drink Southern Comfort anymore either. No.
Jordan and I enjoy a good Captain Diet. That's when that's when you know you got good dude friends that they know, like, I know your drink. I know what you need to have.
Yep.
When you're coming over, like Captain Diet. Yep, do it.
Skinny Pirate.
Yep, Skinny Pirate.
Skinny Pirate.
Oh boy, No.
What do we got drinking over there?
Yeah, what are you drinking, Jen?
It's 56 Brewing.
Look at that.
Oh.
Better be careful. You probably got practice early in the morning tomorrow.
Nope.
Oh.
It's holiday.
Oh, public school.
Yeah.
You
I got the day
know,
off too.
Jen, we were in Tampa together at some bar. You're two-fisting drinking. There's a party last year in St. Paul. She's doing the same thing, wearing the same outfit. She is the best Gopher hockey fan ever.
Oof. Bold. So here's a question for you. I would totally be down for this. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Frozen 4 in Tampa every single year.
Yes.
Oh,
It was so awesome down there. Like,
Yes.
I mean,
Other
it was
people
cool
said
when it
every
was-
other is fine too. Let somebody else play with it, but go every other year.
I
Give
mean,
them a break.
because most of the teams are up north. The weather
Yeah.
sucks for the winter, and like you go down there, it's like palm trees.
Yeah,
70
but they do a
80
great job
degrees.
too. There's
Yeah.
signs all over downtown. They just do a spectacular job.
It was so, I loved it down there. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And then the next year I was like, oh yeah, let's, it's going to be it's freezing cold here.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, it's brutal. I mean, I'm glad we had the national championship on our home rink. That was great. But like, as a fan, I don't mind going down to Florida every once in a while.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely got to be in the mix every 3-4 years.
Oh,
And it's not for a while.
Yeah, it's not.
I was a
They had
little
to catch up a little bit.
I was a little disappointed with the crowd in Vegas, though. I'm thinking you guys probably. What were your thoughts?
Did you end up going?
Yeah, come on.
Well, I know you were trying to get rid of your tickets. You weren't sure if you were going to go.
That was Roberg.
Oh, yeah. You know, I should have sent them a link for that. I should have had Roby come on the show because that would
be awesome.
Was that before injury, or after injury?
It was before. Well, you had the injury, but
you're playing hurt. You're playing hurt with your
time?
Wild thing injury.
Yeah, were you injured from the Wild thing at that point?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I can still move. Like I'm not. It's just your arm. It just feels like honestly, it was like shooting pain down my arm. So you just felt like you'd like hit your funny bone 24/7.
Oh, you guys don't realize though. I had like, yeah, you want to come on the show 2 weeks before this? He's like, yeah, I'll come on the day after surgery. I'll be just fine. He sends a picture post surgery. He looked like death.
I think it would have been fun. I think I actually just threw away my neck guard. It's somewhere in here. Yeah, here we go.
That's your Don. That's your Don guard. Everyone, Don
had
his.
I literally just threw this away. It was sitting on my desk. I was like, all right, let's clean this desktop.
Will you keep that so we can wrap that for Don for Christmas?
For sure.
I saw the Don. Just he was at Mariucci just last game.
The Michigan games.
Yeah.
The Michigan game. He was there.
Yeah, that's
got to rep his team,
right?
Yep.
Yeah, he was there.
A little of both, he said when I talked.
And you know what? It was the first time I had seen Joel Maturi at Mariucci in a while as well. He was there.
He's been at most of the games.
Well, I just hadn't seen him in a while. He had been
there every night.
Yeah.
Well, Don won.
Craig,
what was that,
Craig? How do you get a building named after you while you're still alive?
Ooh.
Apparently, so the Maturi Pavilion.
Yeah.
So that was the office of the general counsel, the head nut, put that request in before he retired because he thought that highly of Joel.
There must be a lot of, or you cut a really big check.
I don't know if he did or not, but it was something. I don't know how they did it, but that's who put it in there to ask for that, and it happened.
Craig, how long does that building stay there?
I don't know.
Do you think they have to replace it?
What, the Maturi Pavilion?
Well, the building itself. I mean, Williams.
Williams. I'm not going to comment at this point. I mean, it's
no comment.
It's no comment.
Don't get Craig in trouble, Jim. Don't get Craig in trouble again.
Yeah. Well,
but we're getting close to. It's going to be 100-year building.
Yeah, maybe they play that up, but they're going to need a new building eventually.
At some point, yes. Yeah.
It's
been a while. It went quiet. We had a deal not too long ago about that whole deal because we did the study, right? We just put out there.
There's always a study.
Renovate that building to make it better for us. What is it going to cost to build a new building? What do we need? What's there? All that kind of stuff. So it's out there.
And then revenue sharing came into the picture, and all of a sudden
there's a
budget
lot of it.
Went up $23 million.
Yeah, just Viggs, you'll ask again. You'll figure it out. See what's out there.
Hey, Craig, can we get some parking at the U?
Parking?
No, don't talk about parking.
Is alumni parking lot? Alumni parking lot for the game?
Let's just say we take Williams down and then just put 6 stories of parking garage and then put the basketball stadium on top of the parking lot.
Or in St. Paul, that would be fine. Campus.
Yeah, we can take the bus in. We can just park at the fairgrounds.
There you go.
We used to park back in the day. There was like that freight area where the parking lot is now, kind of like.
Oh,
I don't. Yeah. A bunch of trailers and stuff, and the guy always like
the warehouse guy. You guys had it golden with the guy that ran that warehouse behind us.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
wait, did you guys have scooters?
Did
you all have scooters back then? Though?
No,
nobody had.
maybe one
Nobody's
guy
got
had a
scooters
moped.
anymore.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if I would have shown up riding a scooter, it would have been as well received as that like early breakout like power play like idea. Like
Yeah,
people would have been
because
like,
late
what?
2000s there was a lot of scooters
Like the Zach
outside of the
Budish
entrance of Mary Eugene.
Wow,
era.
that's like showing up in your Jetta, Nick.
That thing was sweet. It was a new model and it had like purple lights. It was almost as cool as Jupiter's like lighting he's got going back there.
It was cute.
Embrace the lighting.
Yeah, I leased a Volkswagen Jetta back in the day. I
with
liked
your
them.
NIL money.
Budish,
No.
Budish killed the scooters when he got injured. Probably right.
Ooh.
Yeah, the NIL money was working for Denny Hecker Volkswagen.
Yes.
In Cedar Grove Heights, like that job was awesome. Like this is back because like you know like you couldn't work during the year,
Yeah.
right? And it's like you needed, and like if you're on scholarship, like okay, books, tuition, but like what about if I want to go to the library and have a couple beers, right? Like so you need to have a little extra scratch. So I would work and I sold cars in the summer at Denny Hecker Volkswagen. Actually, I sold them in the summer, 2 summers after I was done too, because like when I was working my way up in Europe, like it wasn't enough to just be a sole professional. And it was the day Corey Stringer died. If you guys are Vikings fans, like, it was like 190 degrees out, and Denny came like in, and I think he played like 36 holes. And I had like, you had to have a suit jacket on, and I had taken my suit jacket off, like loosened my tie because I was like sweating through my jacket, and he came in and just crushed me. Like, I mean, I had Soviet style coaches, and this guy talked to me like I've never been talked to before in my life. Like, just ripped me apart right on the.
Is Denny Hecker still in jail?
Oh, he's going places.
Yeah, I don't know. But honestly, if I was the person I am today, I'd probably just punch that idiot right in the head.
Well,
Yeah, I ended up I bought his watch. So like when he was going to prison and they were auctioning off all his shit, I overpaid for his Omega Planet Ocean watch, but I didn't care. I wanted it, and I have it upstairs in my bedroom. I've never
nice.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy your watch. Enjoy your time in jail.
He kind of paid for that flight for 03, the 03 champion team to go to the White House. He paid for that.
Really?
Flight. Yep.
Denny?
He was the big wig on the flight.
I have a funny Denny Hecker story. I did an entrepreneurship class at the Carlson School, and we were doing these kind of like business plans. And one of our tasks our professor did was like to partner with like an entrepreneur in the community and like review our business plan. And one of my classmates had this like Scooterville plan. It was like, here's how you sell scooters to students on campus. And he went to Denny Hecker and like, you know, workshop this idea for like a month. And after he presented it to the class, Denny took that idea and stole it.
He Shark Tanked it?
He Shark Tanked it. He Shark Tanked it. He's like, I like this idea. I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to involve you at all.
So
yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
So we had to do that. It was some business class or marketing class where you had to design your own product too. And I came up with an amazing idea, and I was going to actually produce. Oh, we lost Jordan.
No, he just turned off his video. He's good.
And I was going, like, the product I had was awesome. So I thought, but Don was not super excited about it. So you know how they, like, back in the day, they used to have the Chia Pet.
Oh, I remember the
like,
Lucia thing.
Yeah, like a molded.
Are you the one who started that?
You could have, and you could sculpt it however you want, right? Like, and I wanted to sell that like right outside Mariucci. Like,
oh
who
my
wouldn't
God.
want a Lucia
I
pet?
remember people talking about
Like,
they wanted a Lucia pet.
Yeah, because it was like he had that like bouffant.
He did have the big bouffant kind of hair, yeah.
Like, yeah, so I wanted to have the
Lucia.
And he was so pissed off at me about that, like the Lucia pet.
That's why you didn't get the synergies.
For sure, or the mission skates. Enjoy.
That's why our scholarship got axed 10% every year too.
Yeah, no kidding. Holy cow! How did I go from like 100 to 80? That was
Yeah,
weird.
hey Don, I was on a full ride. Why am I at 80 now? Well, I mean, we just reduced it a little bit so we can get some more kids in the
We
program.
just we reduced it a little so we could get some guys to take your spot.
You did win a national title.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Jordan. When you scored that, when you shot that puck, I was so excited on the bench. Like when that thing, and then Grant did the thing, and yeah, right over my shoulder.
Then Grant did the thing.
Yeah, what the hell was Grant doing, by the way? I don't even know.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, speaking of Johnny Poole, if you watch,
gosh.
Johnny like literally took his helmet off and just like threw
He
it.
threw
into
it.
the
He
stands.
threw it in the audience. It went into the stands.
Yeah.
If that would have been reviewed, his helmet is
That's
gone.
Oh yeah. I mean, somebody's got that somewhere.
Well, okay, so here's a funny story. I threw my crap in the stands too. I go back to a house party after. This was at Welchie's house. I don't even remember this, Nick. So he had a house party right off 4th Street. We get in there, and some kid comes up to me that we go to school with, goes, "Hey, will you sign my glove? It was my freaking glove."
Oh,
How the hell do you get that? Oh, I caught it. Okay.
so actually, speaking of funny things that you find, so Jordan and I and a couple of the guys are in a text chain, right? And I'm watching History Channel, and it's the Detroit Pawn Shop.
Yeah, you showed me this the other day.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
the
you did.
Detroit Pawn Shop where it's like, I mean, the real rough area. And I mean, these guys are like, I mean, pawning everything, like used
Hardcore
vacuum
pawn.
cleaners and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, hardcore pawn, right? And I mean, it's rough. And I'm watching this negotiation because I love the old man. I think he's hilarious. And I see in the back, I had to pause and rewind the video. There's a Jordan Leopold #3 Buffalo Sabres jersey in the background. How did that get to Detroit at the pawn shop?
$5.
That was kind of a wild one. I'm like, Leo, here you go, buddy. I had to rewind it a little bit, but you're everywhere, my man.
No, I'm everywhere. You don't even know it.
Why don't you get more relaxed right now?
I'm getting tired. This is like 4 hours past my bedtime.
So speaking of Lucia, though, like I thought I was actually going to see Don and Jordan together because we had the Hobie Baker golf tournament.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of clients out there, and Jordan was sick. He didn't make it. Don was getting an award, and he had his son accept it for him. Yeah, there it is.
There it is. In the back.
Jordan Leopold's jersey right there.
I don't know if that's mine though. That could be a Mike Ramsey special.
I think that's it. That's it.
There you go.
Yours, but I forgot what I was chatting about. Oh yeah, so like Jordan couldn't make it, and Don missed out, but his son, I think it was Tony, gave it.
Yeah, Tony came.
Yeah, Tony did a great job. And then our team ended up winning that golf tournament, and I had to go up there and accept it. And I was like, well, hey, I knew I was never going to win the Hobie Baker, but if I could win the Hobie Baker golf tournament, then maybe it kind of feels like it a little bit.
Far from it, buddy.
Nick, what's your handicap at these days?
Well, 5 months ago, the last time I picked up a club, it was 9, but I don't think we're playing to the handicap whenever I pick up a club here in probably a month.
You're going to get that injury restriction on your handicap when you come back?
Yeah. Is there a thing? I just started playing golf a couple of years ago. This is my
Sure you did.
4th year. No, you can ask Jordan.
Legit. Yeah.
Really?
Dog shit. Shoot 140.
You damn hockey players just have
terrible
a
golfer,
knack for
and then
golf.
all of a sudden he gets some lessons and all this, and he just kicks my ass every time. I don't play enough.
I mean, it's the one thing, maybe one thing I could beat Jordan at, maybe. I mean, like Jordan, honestly, we had this debate next to Paulie Martin. I think Jordan's probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen.
Nope, not a chance. Not next to like Welchie and Welchie, Tafe, O'Leary. Yeah, man. I don't know. You were a pretty good athlete too. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
All right, it's after midnight. We got to end this overtime. Say goodbye to everybody. You guys all stay online real quick here. I want to make sure everything gets uploaded so we have all this video. But thank you guys for being on. Great show. Man, it has been a long overtime. Holy cow, V. It's not a record, but it's been a long one.
682 people on there. That's good.
Yeah. That's
Midnight?
not a,
Wow. Jeez.
Thanks for coming along.
Yeah, thanks for hanging with us. It was,
well, thanks for coming on.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving.
It is Thanksgiving now, so
what's the, Leo, what's the over under if you just sleep there or you're gonna actually
I am gonna sleep in my clothes tonight, I'll tell you that.
I think so.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Hey, Viggs, I think that was a little out of control. What do you think?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I've got some great Don stories too. I mean, behind closed doors, there's all kinds of stuff over the years. But, I mean, the biggest thing he ever told me about Leo, I mean, you're not going to believe what he told me.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All true.